that, click on it. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
The leading receiver.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rexroad. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's showtime.
And welcome into the Tuesday edition of Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Big Joe Dubin and Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a good holiday weekend out there. I'm excited to have Joe Dubin with me all week this week from Main Street, Nashville. Big Joe, what's going on?
Hey, Robbie, how's it going, man? It's like deja vu, back in the studio where I was 10 years ago. So it looks like I've accomplished a lot in 10 years. I'm back, so welcome. Welcome me in. Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Nick Keyser, how are you? How was your holiday weekend?
Doing great. Great fireworks show last night at the Keyser house. So
Oh, wow.
Nice. Bottle rockets?
tons.
Bottle rockets, man, now that you can buy anything to blow up the world, bottle rockets have kind of taken a back seat.
Black Cats. They've modernized a lot today. There's
They
a lot
have.
of real good ones out there.
They have. We set off, we bought artillery shells.
Oh, yeah.
And my son's like, let's get these. And and they went off last night. My brother lives up in Macon County. We went up there last night and shot fireworks off. And I'm surprised it didn't wake up half of Nashville. Those things are crazy.
It's unbelievable. We had some of our neighbors bought that. And first off, in Robertson County, hadn't been a whole lot of rain up here lately.
Right.
So you got to, keep your eyes out. Make sure there's no grass fire out there. But, it sounded like the War of 1812 out there last night at one point. It was unbelievable.
They just keep going on, and then then you get some that are really cute, but they don't really explode. You're like, mark those off the list. And then you get the ones that go about 4 feet in the air and just set off just a loud, huge, thundering crash. You're like, all right, write that down for next year. We'll take that. So I was out a couple $100, but it was fun last night.
I am curious, for people that were actually born here, like you and I.
Yeah.
How many people actually go downtown for the downtown fireworks?
Because we did growing up,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't go within 15 miles, and I live like 15.1 miles from downtown. There's no way I'd go down there for that.
I'd never go.
No, and they finally shut the interstate down.
Yeah.
So people would pull up and stop on the side of the interstate. That was so dangerous. So they shut that down where you can't go on the north side there of Nissan Stadium. But I don't know. I don't know anybody that goes down there for that. And there are people that get down there. Like when I worked in TV, we'd go down and do all the live shots at noon and everything. They get down there like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I saw Bob Mueller from News 2 last night.
Yeah,
so
Bobby.
They did their little their special down there.
Yeah.
And apparently it took an hour and 45 minutes to get across the Vietnam Veterans Bridge down there. I was like, man, sounds like a lot of fun, Bob.
There's no way to do that. No. So, it's just one of those things where it's just taken off, it's kind of like swallowed itself, the fireworks downtown Nashville, because it was cute for a long time, but now it's just become this huge, extravagant deal that I want no part of.
No.
So, but I was watching Channel 5's coverage last night. They did really good with they had the helicopter looking down. Man, you can't beat that. That's solid.
I will say it looked pretty cool watching it on TV. I'll stay up watching it on TV, though.
By the way, it's 1,000 degrees in the studio. I brought my sweatshirt in.
Give yourself about 20 minutes, and it will be like Antarctica in here.
Yeah, I love that, man.
I'm pretty sure Chase McCabe sits at home at the master control,
Right.
and just tries to either burn us out or freeze us out.
Well, it's funny because they're like, "Hey, turn the air up to 78 or 79." I'm like,
No, it's not happening.
No, my air conditioned home has not. Well, my thermostat hasn't ever seen over 70 degrees.
No,
it's not. So I need it to be ice cold in here.
Yeah, I saw a couple weeks ago, the TVA put out, just leave your AC on 78 or above all day long while it's 105 outside.
I'd rather sleep outside.
No,
I'm not
thanks.
doing that nonsense.
I'm not going to do that. We got a lot to get to today. We get a big trade for the Preds over the weekend. We'll get to that coming up here in just a few minutes. Bill Bender from Sporting News at 7 o'clock for the latest on all things college football. John Glennon from NHL.com at 8 o'clock as well. And as always, taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 1025. Joe, we will get your thoughts on this a little bit later, but I'm curious, just right off the jump here, what do you make of USC, UCLA going to the Big Ten?
That shows me that it's all about money now. It's all it's about. They're going to go. And, all the joke was I can't wait for the Rutgers-UCLA game at 11 o'clock in Rutgers, and the UCLA football team's got to play a game which starts at 8 o'clock back on the way. It was just all this nonsense, but I'm not a fan. And you look at the map. I mean, if you look at it where the Big Ten is situated, then you go all the way across the country, and you see Los Angeles and the two schools there, and there you have it. And the Pac-12's done. I mean, what are they going to do now? Combined with the big Southwest Big 8? What's it called now? With Texas
question.
in them?
Yeah. What are they?
Oklahoma State. So
don't worry, they got Cincinnati coming in. They'll be fine.
all this chaos now, but I think it was just awful to see that, and it's all about the money now, and I just think that's not good for college football at all.
Well, I think it's going to be two basically gigantic super conferences with the Big Ten and the SEC. And, I mean, the SEC, when Texas and Oklahoma come in, will have 16 teams. They're not stopping there at this point. There's going to be – I think everybody now is waiting for Notre Dame to figure out what they're going to do. Are they going to remain independent, or are they going to join a conference? And once that gets figured out, the SEC and the Big Ten this time 10 years from now, they'll have like 24 teams.
So SEC needs to go after Clemson, probably either Florida State or Miami, and then go get Virginia Tech.
Yep.
And then you're good. And then I'm sorry, John Glenn, but Virginia doesn't figure into this equation. And Carolina's not going to come, or NC State. I just see all that. But I'd go after right now. I'd have talks with Clemson and Miami.
Yeah.
Because you get that Miami market. It's about TV markets now. Clemson brings so much with it with football, but then you get the Miami TV market, and it's just off and running from there. And I just do not think it's a good thing. But that, they're not asking me.
Well, you've got that. You've got NIL. You've got the transfer portal. It's like I was thinking about this the other day, like going back to like 2008 or 2009 and trying to explain to somebody what college football would look like in 2022.
Good luck. I
don't
saw
think they'd
this.
believe you.
So I talked to a college coach this weekend, and we were talking about the transfer portal. And I think if it was correct, guess how many players in the transfer portal? This was coming out of back in January and February. How many players in the portal?
I will go 160, and I think that's probably conservative.
Oh, it was like 2,800.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like total throughout
No,
all
it's
sports
football.
or in football?
In football.
Good
I
gracious.
mean, there were so many guys for all these teams. Because you look, there's 130 teams that are in Division
Sure.
One. Then you drop down to the FCS, and there's more guys there, and on and on and on. And that's how they work. So everybody just enters it just to enter it and see where they can go from then on. But it's just I'm not a fan of all of it. It's like, oh, you're getting old. Yeah, I'm getting old. And I remember the days when there were only 10 teams in the SEC. And if you sign and we always yelp out coaches who sign and then they leave and go someplace else. And that was just kind of, you're going to play for the school, not the coach. And a lot of people didn't understand that. But now, I mean, with 14 teams, now you go 16 teams, and where does it stop and where does it end? And I mean, then how do you get a championship out of all that? And then do you create your own championship within the conference, and that's enough? Who knows?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt. You can think what you want about it. You can think it's a really good thing for college football that all this has finally happened. You can think it's a bad thing. The one thing you can't deny is it is totally going to change the landscape of college football, and it's not going back. Like, once you get this out of the box with players getting paid and all this other stuff, like, it can be good. You can think it's good, and that's fine. But it's going to be very different in college football as we move forward.
Oh, I absolutely. And here's what I was talking to another friend. I said, what's coming down to is I'm just going to go buy season tickets to MTSU and just go sit there and watch football. Watch this football down there, not be concerned about all these mega conferences, and just go down there and enjoy football.
Yeah.
And go to Cumberland. Just the game of football itself, and that's what we're kind of losing sight of. Is it's just we're losing sight of the game of football and why these kids play. And I think all this other stuff has not even talked about. And I'll be fine. I'll just go down to Murfreesboro and hang out.
Yeah.
I'll bring you with me.
Hey, come on. Mike from Shelbyville on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Man, Big Joe is good looking. You guys have cornered the market on good-looking Joes, but this Joe has way better opinions.
Thank you. And I don't clear my throat on air, so that's even better. So you have to worry about that. So you listen all morning, it's not going to be a problem.
There have been 0 mute issues with this Joe so far.
Right.
0.
Wait till I start doing my George Plaster impression later on during the show. And hold on a second now. There's a couple of handsome guys around here. We'll do that at the 9 o'clock hour. Make sure you tune in for that.
Oh, yeah. Very much looking forward to that. We're off and running here today on Robbie and
Yes!
Rex Road. Taking your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I said that because I know every morning when I say we're off and running, it gets you very excited.
Well, I'm on the car headed to the job over at Main Street, and so I hear that every morning at this time. I'm like, yeah, that way I know I'm on time. If I don't hear it, I'm running late. I'm in trouble. When I hear it and I'm on the interstate, I'm like, all is good in the world.
That's right. Coming up next, a big trade for the Preds over the weekend. What does it mean for this group, and what could be coming next down the pike for David Poyle and company? We'll get to that coming up on the other side. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5".
On ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Don't send your kids back to school, send them forward at Staples, the working and learning store.
Save big this 4th of July at Electronic Express. Get an LG 55-inch 4K TV for $399 or a Samsung black stainless washer dryer for $549 each. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Xbox S bundle for just $389 or an Acer laptop for $229. Shop in-store or online with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express. We make celebrations happen.
Erectile dysfunction ruins sex, but it's more than that. It harms otherwise good relationships. It destroys marriages. It can cause depression and anxiety, and it can be extremely hard on a man's self-esteem. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, if it's affecting you, I want you to know that if you're like most men, we can treat it and get you back to the man you used to be. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we're ED experts. Our protocols have success rates as high as 90%. We've successfully treated thousands of men in the Music City, and we have a variety of treatment options and treatment combinations that could have you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour and experience great sex again that is satisfying for both you and your partner. In treating your health, expertise matters, so make an appointment today. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
We here at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game are looking for our next great executive producer. Hey, it's Chase McCabe, the program director. If you think that's you and you think that you have the experience, the drive, and of course you share that love of sports, send your resume and cover letter to together@cromwellmedia.com.
Robbie Stanley.
Sometimes the overthinking that takes place, pretty mind-boggling.
Joe Rexroad.
Thought there was an issue. There's not an issue. There's no issue. They're doing wonderful.
Wake up and hang out with Robbie and Rexroad every weekday morning from 6 to 10.
Taking care of business this early in the morning.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I do not want to deprive people of a close-up of my face.
Watch live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
We may now begin our day.
You're listening to Robbie and Rexroad.
On ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Well, obviously, the first thing that stood out to me was, I think, just, where the team is at competitively. Anybody that's played Nashville knows the group that they have there, and how they've made the playoffs and been trying to be a contender to win the cup. And as a player, that you want to be a part of teams that have a chance to win the cup. And so when Nashville showed interest, it was right away a a big point for me to realize that this group is, like I said, competitive and has all the pieces that I believe you need to win a cup. You look through their lineup; they've got all the pieces and great character guys and guys that have been in the league that have a lot of experience mixed in with some young guys too, and a great coaching staff. So it had all the points there that you want to be a part of. You want to always be contending, making the playoffs, and going on deep runs, and this team has it all.
That was Ryan McDonough over the weekend, newest member of the Nashville Predators. The Preds making the trade over the weekend, bringing in McDonough from the Tampa Bay Lightning to play defense. They give up, almost said Cody Glass, they did not give him up. They gave up Grant Mismash and Philip Myers, so two prospects the Predators gave up to the Tampa Bay Lightning. This essentially, Joe, is a salary dump from Tampa Bay. They've won 2 cups. They were in the final this past year. They're trying to kind of keep their group together as much as possible with the salary cap. But McDonough coming over from Tampa Bay, a 2-time Stanley Cup winner, 33 years old. He's getting paid around $6.75 million a year for the next 4 years. So that's a steep contract that the Predators are bringing on, but a veteran guy that's done a whole lot of winning and plays very well defensively. So the Predators beefing up their blue line over the weekend with Ryan McDonough coming over for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's interesting because they've made such a point, Joe, of getting younger the last couple of years, and they've done that. You're bringing in a guy now that has a ton of experience. He's 33 years old. He's played a long time in this league. Played for the Rangers forever, then got traded to Tampa Bay, and obviously they've had a great run of success there as well. But I do wonder, if you're bringing in a guy like this, we'll see what happens with the Forsberg situation. But to me, this kind of signals, hey, we want to try to take our shot at things this year and get back and try to make a deep run in the playoffs, because why else are you bringing in a 33-year-old with $7 million a year on his contract?
All right, so I'm a hockey fan. I don't know the ins and outs of hockey every day. I don't know all that stuff. But here's what I thought the last couple of years, the Predators, I thought they lacked nasty guys.
Yeah.
And so I thought they lacked guys who'd go out there and would just give everything they have, punch somebody in the face, play hockey and whatever. And I thought that was kind of when they were 17, when they had who's the guy that had the game winner against Chicago? Zollnerchuk? What's that?
Oh,
guy?
yeah. Harry Zollnerchuk.
Yeah, there you go. And then, Vern
Everybody's
Fiddler.
favorite name to spell.
Yeah. And then Vern Fiddler has a game winner against the Blues. I mean, you were missing guys like that. And I think now it kind of gets them back on track to realize, we need some guys who are going to go in there, not looking to be on the number one on the stat line, but will go out there and after the game's over, be all bloody and give everything they've had. I thought they were lacking that for quite a while. And so, but I read somewhere on Saturday when this trade was announced, or Sunday, whenever it was, that, he's not going to be happy leaving where he was comfortable the last couple of years to come to Nashville and all that. So I don't know what to believe.
Well, it's interesting because he had a no movement clause. So had he wanted to just totally shut down the trade to Tampa, he could have. He could have stayed put. He had a full no movement clause, and he waived that to come to Nashville. So it's interesting from a couple of fronts. Why, I think it's pretty apparent he loved Tampa, and why wouldn't you? You won 2 Stanley Cups, and you've been to a Cup final this past year, and you've got a chance to win every year in Tampa, and you're playing in a whole lot better playing in Florida in February than it is in Edmonton or somewhere like that.
So are you surprised by this?
I'm not surprised that they traded him, because I think he knew the writing was on the wall, and just salary cap wise, they needed to make it work. To me, if I'm the Predators, it's good because he could have vetoed Nashville. He could have said, I'm not going there. I don't want to go there. I don't feel like they're close. And he didn't. He said, yep, Nashville is a place that I can go. And it limits your trade market. Honestly, for the next couple of years, for what the Predators gave up, this could be a really good trade for them. They gave up 2 prospects, one of which a defenseman that they got in the Ryan Ellis trade last year that was just not going to work out here. He was not good, and they basically moved on from him halfway through the year last year. And the other one, a prospect that I'm not sure was ever going to really work out as an everyday NHL player. So you gave up very little to go get this guy. So it could end up working out really well for you if you're the Predators. I mean, the thing you worry about is at 33 years old with 4 years left on his deal, a guy that's played a ton of hockey, that's played a ton of physical hockey, when he gets to 35, 36, does he start to to break down a little bit.
I mean, is that what happens to defensemen? I just think you go out there and you're not really – I mean, they're not going to count on him to go out there and, get a goal or two a game.
No.
Right? What's his job, Commander? Just
he is
shove guys into the boards?
Yeah, he's about as stay-at-home as a defenseman as it gets. Now, he can join the rush. He had 26 points, 71 games last year. It's not going to blow anybody away, but his job is basically to be a stay-at-home, shut-down defenseman, which honestly, Joe, I think this team really needs. I mean, Yossi is great. He had 96 points last year. He wasn't a shut-down, stay-at-home defenseman. Ekholm has been that a lot of his career, but even Ekholm, he's got some offensive pop to him. Ryan McDonough, you look at his numbers, he's a really good defensive player. And, everybody points to the Predators and their season last year and how they just didn't have enough depth offensively. And it feels like every year when you're talking about what the Predators need, they need to add more offense. And I'm not saying that they don't, and we'll see what happens on that front. But I think an underrated part of their struggles to close out the season last year, Saros got hurt. Yeah, they played against Colorado in the first round of the playoffs, which was an absolute machine.
Yeah.
But defensively, coming down the stretch, wasn't very good. I mean, they gave up 8 to St. Louis. They gave up like 5 to Calgary, 6 to Calgary, 5 to Minnesota. I mean, they were giving up goals left and right. And, yes, some of that was on the goalie, but a lot of that was on the defensive play as well. So now you look at your defense, if you're the Predators, especially on the left side, and you've got Yossi, you've got Ekholm, and now you've got McDonough. That's a pretty good threesome on the left side. Now, I am interested, and I put this out there the other day. Do they play Ekholm now with Yossi and move him to the right? Do they play McDonough with Yossi? They've got options now to how they can rearrange their lineup. But
that's a lot going on right there.
There's a lot going on, and they needed a defensive shakeup.
Right. All right. So, did you ask questions in the press conference the other day?
I sure did.
Which one? I see you asked one about what's about what he's learned most about what it takes to win in the league.
Yeah.
It's a winner.
Well, it is. First off, it's a great question.
Heck yeah, it's a great. Do we have the audio of you asking that?
Do we have that audio, Nick?
Nick's working on it.
We need just a second.
Let's legitimize Robbie Stanley for getting there and asking questions. Was this Saturday?
This was Sunday.
I think I tweeted back to you like, I'm on my way for this press conference on Sunday.
Well, they did this one on Zoom.
On Zoom, still.
So I didn't have to go anywhere.
Just make sure your internet works, right? That's all I had to do.
That's right.
Yeah. So look at you, Robbie, getting there. So I want to hear a Robbie Stanley question.
We get to that. Nick, you just let me know when that's ready, and we'll get that pulled up. But it is interesting. Like, you're bringing in a guy that's a 2-time champion. How does that help your room? I mean, sometimes, Joe, in sports, I think that gets overblown of, this guy's won before. It's like, well, that's great. He was the backup long snapper, and he won a Super Bowl. How much does that really matter?
What's the one that always made me laugh with Crispy? We talked about one time talking to Crispy, and he said one he hated when somebody told him, he's a great locker room guy. And then Crispy's like, well, good, keep him in the locker room.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't need him out on the ice. That's fine. Great locker room guys, stay in the locker room. I want guys that can come in and win and get the job done. So I just thought it was interesting. This guy leaves Tampa, and I guess Tampa, did they go to him and say, hey, by the way, we're going to get rid of you, and that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think they kind of had a conversation with him at the end of the year of, just salary cap wise, we're in a spot that you got to make some moves, and he was going to be. They've got a ton of younger defensemen that they've got to find a spot for as well. Here was that question to Ryan McDonough over the weekend that I asked. That Joe Dubin's a big fan of what it takes to win at this level and what he's learned about that the last few years in his run with Tampa Bay.
Curious from your vantage point, from your time in Tampa, what have you most learned about what it takes to win at a high level in this league, and how do you kind of relay that message to your new team here in Nashville?
Yeah, there's obviously a lot. I mean, you got to go through some experiences as a team. Thinking you've done all you can and losing, coming up short. You really got to push yourself to the ultimate level. You really have an unbelievable sacrifice for your teammates, and like I said, probably put your teammates first before yourself. And as far as role on the team, putting like I said, just giving yourself up, giving up your role for the sacrament or the sacrifice for the betterment of the team. I think that's been the biggest difference is just finding ways to help your teammates out, help them be so successful, create a close-knit group, and make sure everybody's pulling in the right direction there. And like I said, I'm no guru, but I hope my experience can help this group and keep everybody motivated and hopefully do something special there.
So that was Ryan McDonough over the weekend.
What you should have done, if you had any stones, you'd have done this. You'd have said, "Hey, Ryan, I'm sorry. Can you tell your kid to shut up?" I got
yeah. Hey, we're trying to have press conference here.
I can't hear what you're talking about. Do you mind doing that? But I guess he said all the right things and the correct things you want. I mean, I think, you'd still hurt when somebody comes to you and says, "Look, man, we're getting rid of you. I appreciate your time." And there's a little being upset. But, it's good if he turns that being upset into coming in with just this attitude of, like, I'm just going to take names, then it's a win for the Preds.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're the Predators, you're bringing in a guy that has won a lot in the playoffs. And, you've got Yossi and Ekholm and Forsberg and Johansson and guys like that have been around for a while. And they've won some playoff series. They've made some deep runs in the playoffs before. But there is a little bit of a difference when you've won 2 Stanley Cups and you've been to another one and you've gone to conference finals. Like, you have a pretty good idea of what it takes to win at that level. And you can never have enough of those guys. On a team.
Let me ask. So when's the Forsberg thing? Because I don't want to be here when Forsberg doesn't re-sign with the Preds. I don't want to be on the morning show. I'd like to be back to my other job doing all that. Yeah. Will it be this week?
It could be. I mean, they've got. So it's July 5th. They got 8 days to get this thing figured out. Essentially, July 13th is NHL free agency opening day. So they got 8 days to get it figured out. So
all right, I know how it works in the NFL. Now, can other teams talk to him?
Not yet. They can talk to him. I think the way it works in the NHL is you got to wait until the actual day.
Okay.
You may have a couple-day visiting period where you can back channel a little bit, but now the Predators have 8 days to get this thing figured out.
So, but if he doesn't sign someplace else on the 13th, there's still a chance he could sign here.
He could, but if he doesn't sign by the 13th, you lose the 8th year. So the Predators are the only team that can offer him 8 years.
Why are they giving 8-year deals to people?
Well, that's what it's going to take to get it done.
I won't give an 8-year deal to my son. I mean, that's just there's no way. That's crazy. I thought maybe 4 to 5 years or something. It's guaranteed, right?
Oh yeah, fully guaranteed.
My goodness. Didn't Suter have some massive deal?
He had 13 at the time. You can't even do that anymore. So good for him.
A 13-year deal?
Yeah. Max you can go now is 8.
13 years? God, where's he now?
He's in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no more Minnesota. He made his millions.
He got bought out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, but I don't want to be here when all that comes down. I'll listen to you and Rex Road do that. I won't be here for that.
It'd be a interesting day.
Do you get asked that all the time?
Oh, yeah.
And your gut feeling, 50-50, I guess? That's the political answer.
I still think he ends up here.
Do you really?
Yeah.
See, why not? You're comfortable. You got your buddies run here. It's not like you're on an awful hockey team.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of upside here.
I think the pressure's now on. And a lot of times when the pressure's on, deals get done. So
Do you think – all right, I know we got to the break, but real stupid – and I'm great for stupid questions. Do you think the no state income tax for people coming over from Europe means anything?
I think it means something. I don't think it generally means as much as we make it out to be. Like when you're – look, man, when you're making what he's going to be making, which is going to be roughly around probably almost $70 million total, what's the big difference?
Right.
I mean, there's a difference. I'm not going to play it off like there's not a significant difference, but you'll be making what? I don't know, 40-some-odd million, 50-some-odd million after taxes here, and you'll be making 30-some-odd million, 40-some-odd million after taxes somewhere else. I mean, it's a difference for sure, but still going to have a lot of money.
So, I mean, Florida, Texas, California with the L.A. Kings. I keep hearing the L.A. Kings.
Yeah, I don't know. They definitely have cap space, but I don't know, man.
All right, again, I just want to be here when all this goes down. I don't want to get the chaos. If he resigns, great. If not, man.
It's going to be chaos.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. What did you make of the move the Predators made to bring in Ryan McDonough over the weekend? 615-737-1025. We'll continue that discussion next. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Hello, Nashville. Looking to save money on your wireless bill? You can when you choose Consumer Cellular. Sign up today and you'll get the exact same coverage as the leading carriers for half the cost. This gives you direct access to the widest, most established cellular networks available. Consumer Cellular offers flexible monthly plans with no contract and simple, affordable service that's perfect for your lifestyle and budget. Featuring a wide variety of top-of-the-line phones from Samsung, Motorola, and Apple, you'll find a phone that's perfect for you. Everything is backed by a 100% risk-free guarantee, plus 100% U.S.-based award-winning customer support. Switch your talk, text, and data plan before July 31st and get $100 on every new line of service. Right-size your plan and downsize your bill with Consumer Cellular. Visit consumercellular.com/Nashville100 and enter code Nashville100 to start saving today.
We here at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game are looking for our next great executive producer. Hey, it's Chase McCabe, the program director. If you think that's you and you think that you have the experience, the drive, and of course you share that love of sports, send your resume and cover letter to together@cromwellmedia.com.
Erectile dysfunction ruins sex, but it's more than that. It harms otherwise good relationships. It destroys marriages. It can cause depression and anxiety, and it can be extremely hard on a man's self-esteem. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, if it's affecting you, I want you to know that if you're like most men, we can treat it and get you back to the man you used to be. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we're ED experts. Our protocols have success rates as high as 90%. We've successfully treated thousands of men in the Music City, and we have a variety of treatment options and treatment combinations that could have you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour and experience great sex again that is satisfying for both you and your partner. In treating your health, expertise matters, so make an appointment today. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
If you missed the latest from Stillman & Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman & Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We here at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game are looking for our next great executive producer. Hey, it's Chase McCabe, the program director. If you think that's you and you think that you have the experience, the drive, and of course you share that love of sports, send your resume and cover letter to together@cromwellmedia.com.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into the DDC.
Stillman & Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, Nashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Big Joe Dubin, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Ryan McDonough traded from the Lightning to the Predators over the weekend, taking your reaction all show long. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Kenny the mailman who wants to weigh in. Kenny, thanks for calling in to Robbie and Rex Road.
Joe Dubin, how are you, old friend?
What's happening, man?
I have followed you up and down the dial in both radio and TV.
God
Say
bless you.
somewhere.
You're the one. Thank you so much.
We go way back. Listen, I'm heading into work. I wanted to take a minute. I always poke at you and tease at you, but my wife cut out an article you wrote right before Memorial Day talking about, it was titled Your Best Day on TV. Literally one of the best things I have ever read. If the Tennessean had articles like that, if the USA Today had articles like that, I'd still be getting the papers, which I don't anymore. But that article meant more to us than anything I think we've read in a long time. Would you take a minute and talk about that? And I just want to let you know you're appreciated and you're like an acquired taste sometimes. Articles like that mean a lot to working people because we're so tired of hearing athletes. We follow athletes, but we're tired of hearing, I'm only making $19.5 million.
Right.
I'm not appreciated. I need 21, and I need to only play 2/3 of the game. So that's what we're tired of hearing, and talk about your best day on TV. All my best to you, buddy.
Okay, Kenny, thank you so much. All right, it was a story from Memorial Day. I got sent out to do a story years ago when I worked at Channel 2. We were at the National Cemetery in Madison, and we got there for the morning. It was going to be a big day for Memorial Day, and then so afterwards, my producer calls and says, "Hey, can you turn a story for 4 o'clock?" And I'm like, okay, I'll do something about it. It's going to be hard. Nobody's out here really this morning, and so I started seeing people trickle in the cemetery. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to people, see if they'll talk about why they're here. And my camera guy was like, yeah, I mean, why not? All they could do is tell you no. So I go up to the first guy, and he's standing at the grave, older gentleman, and he's just bawling. And I said, hey, sir, I'm sorry, I'm Joe with Channel 2. I said, he's like, oh, yeah, I know who you are. I said, I'm just asking why you're here today. I said, do you mind if we ask why you've come out today? And he was there visiting his twin brother who had died during Vietnam, but he couldn't go because his eyesight wasn't good, and his brother passed away. And he goes to see him every Monday. He goes to the cemetery and sees him and just bawling. And as I walk off, and we interview the guy, and he was a great, great guy, he says, thank you for talking to me. Let me talk about my brother. I said, okay, you're welcome. So I said, all right, we got one down. Let's go see somebody else. We go across the cemetery. And, Robbie, there was this gigantic, huge biker dude rolls in. I mean, you think about, this guy would just sit there, put a fist on top of your head and drive you right in the middle of the ground. And my camera guy says, I bet you won't talk to him. I said, I bet you're wrong. So I go up and I said, hey, sir, I said, sorry to bother you. Joe, Channel 2, we'll ask you why you're here. He turns around. This guy was 6'7", tattoos, everything, on a Harley. I mean, it was like just right out of a Hollywood script. For 30 minutes, he talked about how he let his father down. His father was a World War II veteran, was in the Korean War, and was just bawling and just gave this amazing, incredible interview about how he failed his father. Then his father, like the last year of his life, just told him how much he loved him and how proud he was of him. And as I walked off, the guy said, hey, man. And I was like, oh, God. And I said, yes, sir. He said, thank you for asking. And that was it.
Wow.
So I just wrote that because it was just one of those days where you go out and you become a better person than you were 2 hours before because you talk to these people who are wonderful. So the thing is, always ask, I mean, like if somebody passes away, ask about them, talk about it. You give them memory about that. People will never, and I'd go out to the cemetery on Mother's Day and do the same thing and talk to people about their mom. And everybody's like, I'll talk. And they love to talk about their family members who meant so much to them. So the thing was always ask. So, Kenny, thanks for bringing that up, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's an awesome, awesome story. By the way, I don't know if I've ever met the person that you wouldn't talk to. Like, I don't care if they're a biker or whoever. I've never met the person that you wouldn't talk to.
Just go up. If all they're going to say, I went to Buc-ee's last week in Crossville.
Oh, yeah.
And same thing. Everybody was simply fantastic and had a good time. And the ones who don't want to talk, I mean, you're like, all right, well, I mean, you just move on and go for it. And you know immediately if they want to talk to you or not, you know. It's like talking to Austin Watson. If they won't talk to you, you just move on and go on down the line there. But that's the thing I tell these, interns. I'm like, always go out and listen. Put your phone down and listen to the interview and make eye contact. And you got it on tape and go back. You can figure it out that way, what soundbite you want to use. But have a plan. That's what I tell all the interns. Have a plan. Seem excited. Be genuine about it. And seriously, make eye contact. It's always the main thing.
Yeah.
Make eye contact with them, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's go back to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. I got a text that says, note that professional athletes do pay state income taxes for games played in states that have income tax. So Preds and Titans don't completely avoid state income taxes, but it would definitely be a lower amount overall since half their games played are in Tennessee.
That's interesting. I don't know how that works or how much you pay or how much, because we're not professional athletes over there. But yeah, there's some part that you got to pay for going to play
in California
in the States.
And
I don't,
New York
but I don't understand how that all works. That's why I hire a financial guy.
Yeah.
On that. But the bulk of your salary, I mean, you think about if you live in a state that has income tax, I mean, they're going to get that. But if you pay a little bit, that's better than paying what you'll pay in another state that's not Florida. What is it? Florida, Texas, Tennessee, California, and
well, the California doesn't have it, or California's got state income tax for sure. Nevada is the one that doesn't have it.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you have it.
Yeah, it's it's a big deal. Like if you're the Predators and you're the Titans, let's say you're John Robinson and David Poile, you should absolutely use that in negotiations.
Oh.
If your money is going to go further here, just is. I mean, you'd be stupid not to use that.
I would absolutely. That would be the main thing if I'm looking at something like that. And you go, especially in the NFL, you get on 3 teams: Jacksonville, Tampa, in Miami, and of course Texas got the 2 teams. But that'd be something. Let me ask you this: you brought up a good point. How often do you think Poile and John Robinson know each other? I mean, to the point where, hey man, or is it just like, nah?
I think they probably know each other in like passing conversation of like, hey, what's going on? But I doubt it's much more than that. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I've always like that dynamic to me is really interesting of coaches and GMs in the same town. Like how much do they actually make it a point to get to know each other?
I think if I'm Vrabel, I'd go to hockey just to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not to be figure out what's going on here, the line changes and all that. Just enjoy. Like, go out to see Nashville SC. Just go enjoy the game for what, because you don't get to enjoy it if you're coaching the Titans. You don't get to just go out there and have fun as a fan and sit in the crowd and enjoy what everybody else gets to enjoy.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More of your thoughts and text on the Preds. We'll get to those coming up next. What could be coming next for the Preds now that Ryan McDonough has been traded? More of that on the other side. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
They're still in good shape to make the playoffs.
and I-840,
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
there's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 102.5 The Game.
I go back to that play and I shake my head. What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams. This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have 2 choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Heat advisories going into effect by the end of the morning, with heat index values climbing up to 105 to 110 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously, I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller is celebrating the home of the free all July long with special deals for customers. This month only, take advantage of free whole home surge protection and interest-free financing for 12 months with the purchase of a new whole home generator. Free programmable thermostat and interest-free financing for up to 48 months on select new HVAC systems, and a free water sensor leak detector and free interest financing for 12 months when you buy a new tankless water heater. All of these purchases come with a free Happy Hiller Club membership. Their work is backed by the Happy OB or Services Free Guarantee. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and pay time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road.
On ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We'll have Bill Bender from Sporting News coming up at 7 o'clock. Joey Chestnut, his massive victory yesterday in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and he's
during the middle
a
of
spectator
it,
in a chokehold. In the middle
but it's a protester. Come on, ESPN, do better. It's a protester gets up on there, and he just gets a guy in a chokehold while in the middle of a competition.
It just keeps going.
And throws the guy. Now, that's epic right there.
Oh, man.
You know, watching that just, by the way, I saw a story that Mr. Titan at Nissan Stadium was in this.
Really?
He's a competitive eater. Now, where was that offered at McGavick High School? Where was that class for me? You know, I would be a competitive eater because I would have been you get me to the Crystals on Lebanon Road in Donaldson, I would have won every single competition, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning coming back from downtown Nashville when I was in my mid-20s. I would have won that every single time. I'm getting attacked by the mic stand over here, which is
see that.
We're going to go at it.
We need a screwdriver.
We're going to go at it. But, you sit there and talk about the hot dogs. They soak them in water. Just thinking about that makes me want to just not ever eat a hot dog again or eat again in general. But so did he win? I didn't see if he won.
Oh, he won.
Okay.
Yeah, he's won 15 now.
Goodness.
I don't think anybody really approaches him.
He ate 63 hot dogs, by the way.
63 hot dogs.
In how, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
10
10 minutes.
No, I can't.
Like somebody was talking about it yesterday. Like everybody, there's the health experts out there talking about how bad like a hot dog is for you.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, well, if you can eat 63 of them in a 10-minute span and not die, how bad can they really be?
It's not that bad at all, is it? I think it'd be great for like an antacid company to sponsor him or something along those lines and say, look, if you eat too much, you're not feeling good. And I know about eating too much, and so I could be Joey Chestnut's agent.
Well, he apparently lives in the San Jose area. And I was talking to Adam Vingan one time. The Preds were playing the Sharks. And he was out in San Jose at like some random restaurant, and Joey Chestnut's just walking around and eating like a normal person. Like that's weird to imagine him just like sitting down and eating calmly at a restaurant.
And how do you become a competitive eater? I mean, is there a class you got to take?
I don't know.
Vol State on that to come up. That's it. Now, that's close to home for Robbie. But I just want to know. I should look more into that.
Go
see
Pioneers.
how that's going on.
Oh man,
are they the Pioneers?
Yeah, they were. Well, they were when I was there.
I had no idea.
They still are, and they have a mascot named Patch when I was there.
Patch?
Patch.
What does he look like?
He's a I guess he looks like a pioneer.
Okay.
Okay.
He has like a coonskin hat, and
it's like it's infringing on UT now.
A little
Didn't their mascot have like a rifle and a coonskin cap? And the guy's like all going forward. So it's like Patch has got some competition.
Yeah, sounds
in
like
the legal field.
Nick, do we have a clip of Joey Chestnut getting ready for the contest?
Yes, we do.
Oh, let's hear that.
He was talking on a MLB game last night. So, yeah, I'll throw this clip up here for you guys.
Here was Joey Chestnut on getting ready for the hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, right now I'm on a liquid diet, pretty much a cleanse, lemon juice, water, maybe just a little bit of protein. But I'm going to go in empty and loose tomorrow. And it's 4th of July. I'll be happy, and I'll be hungry.
We've got a review going on here in this game, as we discussed. Alex and I did just moments ago with Bob Costas' pace of play here. Are there any delays? Do we ever have to go to the tape in competitive eating?
There's been some close calls. One year, me and Kobayashi, we had a tie at the end, and then we had to do a eat-off, 5 hot dog eat-off. As far as close calls, there's sometimes people get called for food coming out of their mouth, and it's one time Sonia Thomas got disqualified. The food came out of her mouth. They called it barfing, and she had to leave.
Joey Chestnut.
That is awful.
A liquid cleanse.
Oh,
sounds great.
Kobayashi. Nom, 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 nom. That is crazy. But he's made a nice little fortune off of it now for doing all that, but there's no way. The soaking the hot dog in the water, that right there is just simply disgusting.
Yeah. I guess it works.
Well,
I guess it's easier to eat, but I couldn't.
Sure. But who wants to be around him for the next week?
Nobody.
Pass.
Chris on the text line says he body slammed the protester and then ate another 47 hot dogs and still won by a 15 hot dog margin over the next person. He eats 2 hot dogs while soaking the buns and then stuffs the buns. That's his process. It's coming from Chris on the text line.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, 47 more after slamming the protester. That's talent. That's multitasking and doing all that. But, it's funny. When I worked for years in TV, that was the go-to story on 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
That was the go-to story. And, it's funny. For years, the only day, and I'm talking the 3 major sports, or 4 actually, I'm not counting soccer in this, was July 5th was the only day there was no sports at all.
Yeah.
Everybody took the day off. And so that's all changed throughout the course of the last several years, but that was the way it was. So you look forward to the Joey Chestnut eating because that filled up a minute on TV and the interview and everything. But, that's epic yesterday with slamming the guy down, all the things that happened yesterday.
That's on my bucket list. I'd like to see the Nathan's hot dog eating contest one day, live and in person, just once.
Well, why don't you should have gone up with Mr. Titan and gone up. He's got a name at the Nissan Stadium, and he's like a bodybuilder, and so I saw a story on him today where he was going up to do this and competing. So I wonder how much if I had any kind of energy, I'd Google that and look it up. But since I don't know where it is. But good luck to Mr. Titan and all that, because he'll be busy here in about a month and a half.
I would say that he will be. So the Preds have made their – go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, are they going to do the practices with the Tampa Bay with Brady when they come up again? Yeah. I tell people – when that happens, to go to the practice, don't go to Nissan Stadium because Brady's not going to play in that game.
No.
Go out there and watch him do one-on-ones. When they came in 2019, Brady came with the Patriots. I'll never forget, I was with Justin Beasley at practice, and Brady just carved up the Titans second. Just one-on-one carved him up and went on and on and on. I'll never forget, Brady let him down the field in the 7-on-7 drill, with just left and right, boom, 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 boom. Mariota comes in, first pass, he airmails it to the other field. It was an awful pass, and the joke was he just hit Tracy Cornett at Channel 4 walking into work. And I'll never forget, I looked at Beasley and I said, this is not going to end well for Mariota. And you could tell Vrabel was watching Brady do that.
Yeah.
Then you get Tannehill comes up here, and I know Stillman hates Tannehill. But anyway, he was throwing straight passes, correct, boom, good job, moving down the field. And I was like, it's only a matter of time. Then Mariota goes out at that Denver game, which was the worst performance of a professional quarterback of all time. Even worse than Big Ben in the Super Bowl when they beat the Seahawks. He was brutal that day. And then from then on, it was Tannehill's team. But that would say, but anyway, go out there to practice and see Brady and see that. And I think the Cardinals might be coming here too, doing the same thing. Go out to the practice because you see so much more if it's open to the public and see things that happen than you will when they don't play at Nissan Stadium on the weekend.
Especially today's NFL, like
those guys aren't playing in the preseason. No. If you're a good player, if you're an established starter in this league, you're not playing in the preseason.
I would not play a down in the preseason. I mean, it's like, well, I didn't get work. And it's always what happens the first couple of weeks. And then started bad. Well, he should have played.
It's like the Titans last year, and they just got absolutely destroyed by the Cardinals.
Yeah, right.
They play the preseason games.
That's right. And the next one they come back, don't they? They beat the Colts. Then they go to Seattle and beat Seattle, and they come back. So, yeah, I mean, they get plenty of work against the number 2s and 3s at practice. They don't need all that stuff. And I think more and more you see that because you invest so much money. These guys, I mean, if Lewan blows his knee out in a preseason game, you're paying him $17 million, then it just looks terrible.
Yeah.
Now, if he blows it out in game 2 of the regular season, it's still awful, but you're playing in a game that matters.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, like, there's an inherent risk every time you get out there anyway.
Yeah.
Like even you talked about these practices. Like, those are pretty intense practices when other teams come in and, it's 1s versus 1s and they're going after each other.
Yes.
And, people can get hurt in those practices. People do get hurt in those practices. But the preseason game, getting injured it's a bad look to it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going out there, and for those that remember, when the Dolphins came here back in 2003 or 2004, right in there, and they came in scrimmage, the Titans up there. I mean, it was like every play. Run a play, fight. Run a play, fight. Run 2 plays, then fight again. I mean, it was just – and I don't know how they got any work done the whole time because all I did was fight. But for us, we loved it. Watching, seeing all the things happen over there like that was just amazing. And they were just – and then after practice, they kind of separate and went their own way. And it happened with the Patriots a few years ago too. I mean, there was a lot of things that went on, a lot of pushing and shoving, which we all love to see. But at the same time, they were able to get a little work in, more work than they would get on the game at Saturday night at Nissan Stadium.
Well, it's been hot all summer. And then training camp rolls around, that heat. I mean, we've seen teammates like Roger Saffold and Jeffrey Simmons have gotten into it a few times too. I mean,
could you imagine breaking that? Robbie, go break those 2 up.
I think I'm just going to let them go, man.
Where's Robbie? Oh, he got punched, and he's now in Clarksville.
They
sent him in the air up there. Roger Saffold is a gigantic man. Did he go to Buffalo? Is that where he went? And then Simmons is just massive.
Monster.
Is massive, and so they better. He's about to get a monster deal, I think.
Oh, he's going to get
monster.
a lot of money,
and he should, because we'll talk about that later in the show. But as well, you talk about those front 4 for the Titans. It reminds me of the front 4 going back to 2007 when you had Vanden Bosch, Tony Brown, and Hainsworth. The 2007 year, I'd never seen a player destroy offensive lines and quarterbacks the way Albert Hainsworth did.
It was unbelievable.
Contract year. That's what he did.
Albert.
He hit David Carr so hard. David Carr's playing for the Panthers that I thought David Carr would have died on midfield at Nissan Stadium. They couldn't stop him.
No.
I mean, David Carr dropped back to pass, and he would do a 2-step, and he'd get rid of the ball because Hainsworth was on him that quickly and that fast. And if Hainsworth didn't get you, Vanden Bosch got you. And then Tony Brown finished you off. So I see the Titans front 4. If they could do that, if they could be that dominant, this could be a very good football team.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by Bill Bender from Sporting News. We'll get his thoughts on USC and UCLA heading to the Big Ten and what this all means for the big picture of college football moving forward. That's coming up next. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch The Game.
Line to left, coming on Newstrom. Base hit, sounds win.
We talk The Game.
But they knew he'd be really good. Well, if they don't make that move, they don't win those championships.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Looking for a career with purpose or have a passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where we gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach our full potential. And that starts with you. Offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Don't miss the hiring fair on July 8th and 9th. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
The Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Hello, Nashville. Looking to save money on your wireless bill? You can when you choose Consumer Cellular. Sign up today and you'll get the exact same coverage as the leading carriers for half the cost. This gives you direct access to the widest, most established cellular networks available. Consumer Cellular offers flexible monthly plans with no contract and simple, affordable service that's perfect for your lifestyle and budget. Featuring a wide variety of top-of-the-line phones from Samsung, Motorola, and Apple, you'll find a phone that's perfect for you. Everything is backed by a 100% risk-free guarantee, plus 100% U.S.-based award-winning customer support. Switch your talk, text, and data plan before July 31st and get $100 on every new line of service. Right-size your plan and downsize your bill with Consumer Cellular. Visit consumercellular.com/Nashville100 and enter code Nashville100 to start saving today.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously, I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios. WPRT FM Pegram. WPUC HD2 Laverne.
NASCAR is back. Kyle Larson returns to Nashville Speedway a winner.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
The leading receiver.
Awesome game 7.
Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rexroad. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Welcome back in, hour number 2 of Robbie and Rexroad here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Big Joe Dubin. Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody's doing well. Scheduled to be joined by Bill Bender. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
He probably last night went on a bender.
Well, maybe.
That's a great name.
It really
Bill
is.
Bender.
Bill Bender.
And so he's not. Anyway, we'll talk college football. But by the way, for those asking, my fight with the mic stand is now over. We've reached kind of a truce, and so he's not. The mic stand's not going to fight
verbal understanding.
Me. Yeah, I'm not going to fight him. So that's what it's going to be right now. So we're good with all that goes on. Yeah. Thanks for the concern though on the text. What's that text line, Robbie?
615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I've sent plenty of texts to you guys.
Yeah, you have.
Just smashing Rexroad any chance I can get with all that stuff. Because he takes it I've told Joe, and we've had this discussion before, Twitter is not real life. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's not real life.
Correct.
And so, but he just gets irate.
He's been known to get into a Twitter battle or two.
He does.
Back in my, when I was younger, I used to do that a lot. And then one day I just kind of decided it's not worth it anymore.
Exactly.
So
it just gives you heartache and pain. And so now I just try to go in there and have fun. And I'll continually mess with Stillman. That's a lot of fun because it's all joking, but part of him thinks it's real, so it upsets him a little bit. So that's what happens.
So, Joe, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show in terms of the state of college football. So you got USC and UCLA moving from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten less than a year after the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the Pac-12 formed their alliance, in air quotes, after the SEC made their big moves. Notre Dame's future is kind of still hanging out there. They've been independent for so long. I think at some point they're probably going to have to join a conference just based on the way this thing is going. But we'll see what happens on that. I mean, there's the the Notre Dame TV deal that comes with that to think about as well. So there's a lot that goes into that.
I think Notre Dame stays pat.
They might.
Think, why do all that stuff and be the outside look? And you could call your own shots. I mean, but where does this end? We talk about college football.
That's the thing.
Where does it go? You look we laugh at the map. You see where the Big Ten situated. Then you go all the way to the left of the map in Los Angeles. There's 2 schools. It's just a crazy part, and you've realized it truly is about money.
Yeah,
that's all it is. So you have these 2 mega conferences. The Big Ten, which will at some point don't they have changed their name to something?
You would think you can't be the Big Ten with 30 teams in there, can you?
Right. So they'll do that. SEC is going to swallow up some more schools. You got the 2 big conferences, and then other teams left in the fold. What happens to the ACC? What goes on there? What goes Pac-12? I mean, I am shocked with Oregon, with all the money they have, was not included in this.
Yeah.
Shocked.
Well, to me, if you're looking at the Pac-12 right now, what's left of it, that's the number 1 program I'm going after if I'm somebody else.
Yeah.
For no other reason than Nike. Like, Nike's there, and the money that comes with that,
yep,
absolutely.
So if you're the Pac-12, do you go after and say, all right, I'm going to go try to get Oklahoma State now? Now, it doesn't matter. Geography doesn't matter.
Geography is totally out the window.
Yeah. So for all those who failed geography in high school, you're good, like myself. Yeah. It doesn't matter anymore because East is West and West is East and everything else that goes along with that.
That's
but
right.
Does the Pac-12 like, all right, we got our butt kicked, we're done now? Or they can say, you know what, we're not going to stand pat on this. And they go out and they get those schools and they go out and get Oklahoma State and maybe another, try to, take a Texas Tech with them. It's limitless where this goes.
Well, the thing is, I mean, at this point, if you're the Big 12 or the Pac-12, it kind of feels like to a certain degree you're fighting a losing battle. Like, I'm sure they're going to try to, the Pac-12 came out with their statement last week of, we're the conference of champions and we're still committed to winning and all that other stuff and being the best conference we can be. But, like, you just lost 2 of your flagship programs. If you're the Big 12, you're losing Texas and Oklahoma. Like,
right.
You're fighting a losing battle with the Big Ten and the SEC. So I do ultimately wonder in college football, like, is this just going to turn into the Big Ten and the SEC and then everybody else is secondary?
I think it's absolutely what's going to happen there. And so you have the 20 teams and there's 40 right there. There is a third of college football Division I programs gobbled up by 2 conferences. And then you look what happens the ACC and the Big 12 and the Pac-12, what goes on from there. But, the SEC, they're sitting, and they will never admit it, but they're sitting there like, what's our next move?
Oh, yeah.
Where do we go? You had 4. We talked about this earlier, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and maybe NC State. Maybe, I don't know. Raleigh's a nice little market over there, but you'll see. But I think if you get the next 2 teams, SEC, I think you got to get Clemson. I think Virginia Tech should go.
Yeah.
And take those. But that's, again, the possibility or just go on and on and on.
No, and it's, the Big Ten and the SEC both, I think, like, they're going to make a pitch to Notre Dame. Now, I don't know if Notre Dame's ultimately going to do anything about it, but they're going to make a pitch to Notre Dame. I think you'd be crazy not to if you're both of those conferences, and then you'll see what happens after that. But
can you imagine Notre Dame in the SEC?
No, I can't. Of course, I couldn't imagine Oklahoma in the SEC either, but here they are.
But that would be, it'd be kind of cool if Notre Dame popped to the SEC. I don't think it'll happen. I think they stay independent, but my goodness, that would probably end it all right there. It'd be like, all right, we're done. We got our 4, Clemson, Florida State or Miami, Virginia Tech, and Notre Dame. We got 20. We're good to go. Let's play ball.
Well, I do wonder, like, if you're a Tennessee fan or a Vandy fan or, I don't know, a Arkansas fan, like, how are you feeling about the direction of college football? Because we had this discussion, Joe, last week about Tennessee. They haven't been to an SEC title game since 2007.
Correct.
It's hard enough to win in the SEC as it is, and you're about to add Texas and Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Divisions are going to go by the wayside, I think, at some point, and it's just going to be, here's your 3 permanent opponents every year and your 6 other conference opponents on a rotational basis, and we're going to take the 2 best teams at the end of the year in the SEC, and that's going to be your SEC title game. Like, to me, it's only going to get harder if you're a team like Tennessee to win and to get back to that top level in the SEC.
So, but at the same time, if you're talking to a recruit and like, hey, you come to Tennessee, here's what you competed against, I'm there all day.
Yeah.
I'm driving to Knoxville right now to compete in that, even though it's a long shot. But my goodness, every Saturday you tell me you're going to play Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, A&M, whoever. So that's a no-brainer for a kid to go there. And you throw in the NIL, then you're locked and loaded for all that. It's just that making that jump to get to the championship game and winning it. We put a lot. All right, here's a question for you. Who won the SEC in football last year?
Alabama did.
Okay, thank you. So we oftentimes forget who win the I mean, that's the goal, is win the conference.
Yeah.
And then from that, you can win the national championship. And we've seen, you don't have to really win the conference, win the national championship. But if I'm a school, if I'm Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Tennessee, I mean, I want to win the SEC. I mean, that's my ultimate goal right there, is to win that. And all too often you forget who wins. The SEC. For the longest time, the last back-to-back SEC champion was a 97-98 Vols. And then Alabama came to the mix, and they've won a couple like that and have gone on. But, again, it's strive to win the conference and go from there. And the SEC right now, I mean, with the 14 right now going to this year before Oklahoma and Texas join, I mean, it's just a massive, which it is every single year, and especially the SEC West. I mean, good Lord, man. But that's what I want to play against. If I get the opportunity, I'd play those games on Saturday against the best teams in college football. But you still, to me, the purity of college football, of going to Neyland Stadium, of going between the hedges, going to Auburn, going to the Swamp. I mean, that to me is just, that sells me. I don't NFL, going to play Jacksonville or up to Cincinnati, I don't care. I mean, but these where history has been made, and the pageantry and all that just really gets me going, man.
Josh on the text line says, is this going to turn into basically North versus South, only two conferences in all of football? I mean, I think I don't know if it's going to be quite as simple as that, but basically, yeah, like the two conferences that matter and that end up deciding what the college football playoff system looks like. Yeah,
and
then Big Ten and the SEC.
And the NCAA is kind of like, hey, let us get a part of that. And the conference like, no, we're good. You take care of yourself. We'll figure that out. And then, but that's it. North versus, that's a great way to put it. That's what's going to happen. And it's just the broad scope of all this now. And nobody saw the USC-UCLA thing happening.
No.
But that had been going on for a while, though, with talks and all that. Had to be going on for a while.
Bo from Murfreesboro on the text line says, I think it's a great move for Tennessee. They have the tradition, and several times in the last 25 years they've been top 5 in revenue-producing football programs, even though they've not been at the top of the conference.
Bingo.
I believe NIL and mega conferences will allow the top 25 revenue-producing schools in the country to thrive. Vanderbilt, not so much. It's coming from Bo from Murfreesboro.
Vanderbilt's got money. They want to play the game.
They do.
They can play the game. Now, did I read somewhere Florida's not doing the NIL?
They're not doing a whole lot of it now, which is not going over well with their fan base.
That's just, why not? I mean, that's an opportunity. I mean, you look what A&M have done, and and Saban talking about A&M a few weeks ago, and Alabama doing it, and all these other schools doing it. Play the game now that it's, air quote again like you did earlier, legal to do so.
Yeah.
Have all that and get the guys that come in there, because, that quarterback that UT got that's really good, I mean, he's already signed this massive, allegedly. So it's a no-brainer to do that. By the way, I'm looking at Tennessee's schedule this year, right? You talk about playing games on a Saturday against other. I mean, they got Pitt, Florida, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, you just look. I mean, that's the cream of the crop playing there. That's why you go to schools like that and do that. And we love that and watching that. But at some point, college football is just going to eat itself.
We'll continue this discussion coming up next. Got more of your thoughts to get to on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll also get Big Joe's thoughts on the Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban situation. You got a little familiarity with Jimbo Fisher back in the day. We'll get to that coming up next. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Ever wonder what toys do when people aren't around? With the Nashville Symphony performing the score live, Disney Pixar's Toy Story answers that question with a fantastic, fun-filled journey, viewed mostly through the eyes of two rival toys. Woody, the lanky, likable cowboy, and Buzz Lightyear, the fearless space ranger. Toy Story in concert with the Nashville Symphony, July 8th through the 10th, including a Sunday matinee performance. Presented by Disney Concerts. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSymphony.org.
If you missed the latest from Stillman & Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now, so that everybody They are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tennessee First Lady Maria Lee.
Every year, there are 20,000 children in Tennessee who have been abused or neglected. CASA volunteers provide crucial support in speaking up for these kids and supporting them in their search for a safe, loving, and permanent home. CASA volunteers can be the caring, consistent adult in a child's life who can make all the difference. To connect with a CASA program in your area, go to beforthechild.org.
Brought to you by Tennessee CASA in cooperation with the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Join 102.5, 106.3 The Game and Newton Motor Group this summer to help kids in Middle Tennessee as we team up with Souls for Souls to provide shoes to children experiencing homelessness in Nashville and the surrounding area. With school coming back, our goal is to raise $20,000, which will provide 1,000 pairs of shoes for kids, but we can't do it without you. So please consider helping however you can by going to thegamenashville.com/shoes. All donations will go directly to Souls for Souls to give shoes to children in Middle Tennessee experiencing homelessness. Let's do some good this summer. Thank you for your help. Once again, that's thegamenashville.com/shoes. Newton Motor Group is a proud sponsor of Souls from Music City. Newton Motor Group, the best car deals in Nashville start at Newton. Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road. Robbie Stanley, Big Joe Dubin, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee.
I know we'll get to more college football talk, but we're watching the Wimbledon's on right now, and Roger Federer just came out and he's talking to the crowd. I made the mistake last year of saying, look, nobody cares about Wimbledon. That's so wrong. There are a lot of people out there that care about Wimbledon and watch Wimbledon and love tennis. Just because it's not in front of you doesn't mean that people don't care about it. But Wimbledon still, I mean, back in the day, you know, with Bjorn Borg in the mid-'80s and Lindell and McEnroe, and we love McEnroe.
Who doesn't?
And I told you, we had McEnroe on this show when I did this years ago. He was in town promoting an event that was going on. We had him on the radio, and so we finally said, hey, John, thanks for time. We know you got to go. He's like, I got nowhere to go. We're like, all right. So we kept McEnroe on for like 25 minutes that day. And he was fantastic. He knows the game and plays the game correctly when he's on the radio with people. So it's really good. But Wimbledon's still a big deal. And so Federer came out there. And, I mean, just watching these legends, Nadal, Federer, and all of them that go on.
Djokovic, look, I will, and admittedly, it's on a part of the sports calendar where not much is going on. But I'll sit down and watch a little bit of Wimbledon every year. I like it.
Yeah,
I really
and it's funny. You go, well, I'll go out and play tennis. Yeah, go out and play a 4-hour tennis match against one of the best players in the world. See how long you last out there.
Not very long.
Exactly.
I don't think there's any question about that. So what have you thought of kind of the way SEC coaches have responded to this NIL stuff? We saw the Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher stuff, which I know that you've got some familiarity with from Jimbo Fisher back from your playing days.
Yeah, so I played with Jimbo at Samford. And so when I went there to play, this is back in 87, 80, right in there, I heard about Jimbo. He was like 5 years older than all of us when we get down there. But my thing was just, this is why I can't stand this. We're in practice one day, and he had the red jersey on, a candidate the quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Well, they ran I was playing defensive tackle. They ran a screen, messed it up. I shot to the quarterback and got him. I held up, you know. And when I got close to him and I walked away, he hit me in the back with a football. I mean, hard. And I turned around and I said a few words, and so all the coaches said they don't see the initial hit, right?
Yeah.
They see
you mouthing.
Yeah, right. So I got in trouble. You know, because I shoved Fish. I said, all right, we'll just continue. Like 2 plays later, free shot again, shoved him, hit to the ground, and he just whined and cried. I'm like, oh, I see how this is going on. But I will tell you, he was a hell of a quarterback. And, you know, he wins a national championship at Florida State in 2013. I was shocked he left Florida State, which was a great move. Now he's at A&M. But you see what he has done at Texas A&M. He's bought into the NIL. And, you know, you had the coach leaked on you see last week the coach was taking some recruits around Kyle Field. He's like, yeah, there's money behind those suites, and that's what you're playing for. Something along those. I'm paraphrasing all that. But it's just speaking the truth that's out there. And Saban knows that, and they all know that. And so now it's not only a battle for the recruit, it's a battle for the NIL, what's going on. So it takes it to the next level. I'm not a fan of it. I'm just not because – I don't know. And that gets into the boosters get involved. They say they're not going to get involved. There's a lot of gray area that's happening here. And how gray? Charcoal. But that's what's going to happen now, what's going on. But, you know, Sankey's seeing this. Part of him's loving it. Because that was the talk for 2 weeks. They were, and the other half's like, oh, we got to rein this back in just a little bit.
Well, and publicly is like, you gotta rein it back in, like you said. But it was, I'm sure that privately he was like, yep, just keep talking.
I like to see a Clark Lee Heupel kind of NIL battle that way. Just keep going on and down. And so you laugh, you know, with these coaches, what's going on. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, and now you got, you know, I'm sure you've got like a third team tackle going up, like, I want a deal somewhere, going into some restaurant, getting a deal. And when does that carry over into the field? You know,
that's the thing. Well, you brought up the rumors of Nico coming into Tennessee and whether or not he's the $8 million quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I do wonder at some point, and maybe it's not with Tennessee immediately, but maybe it's somewhere different around the country, but with guys coming in that have huge deals and huge money. No, it's not the university, quote unquote, that's paying them the money, but is there ever pressure to play a guy earlier than you might otherwise would with that money that you're getting paid coming in? Like, it's a totally different ballgame.
That's a great point, because if Company A has got Robbie Stanley coming at quarterback, but Robbie Stanley can't beat out the number 3 quarterback on the team, does Company A go to somebody with the university to get a message down to the head coach? Hey, you got to we're paying a lot of money for this Rob Stanley guy. You got to get him. Is there a point also where if your NIL exceeds your tuition, you have to pay for it?
I don't know.
I thought I read that somewhere, that if your tuition, so if we're paying you $800,000, well, you're making more than what the tuition is. You have to pay your tuition now. Now, does that free up a scholarship slot?
That's a great question.
I don't know if anybody knows the answer. Let us know. Because have you listened to the show this morning?
Scholarship stuff,
right? Yeah. So that's right. So if you got 5 guys who are really good NIL money, all right. Well, they're making this money. They pay their own tuition. We classify these guys as walk-ons. Right. Then I can give the 5 scholarships to Nick Keiser over here and Robbie Stanley down the road, and then there's more added there. So look, there are so many tentacles to this that I'm not sure we understand what's going on.
Well, one thing I'm also interested in when it comes to the recruiting part of this is we used to just look squarely at the coach and his staff and say, okay, well, is this staff good at recruiting? Are they not good at recruiting? I mean, that's the name of the game in the SEC. You got to be able to recruit. Well, now so much of it, I think as you move forward here, especially with the top guys, is going to be, all right, well, what's the best NIL deal that I can get? Mm-hmm. And how do you evaluate a coach on that when the decision is no longer just, all right, it's the program, it's the system, it's the coaching staff. There's also, well, now it's the money on top of it. Well, and look, I'm not naive. There's always been money that's gone along with it, and it's been under the table. But now it's above board, and you can see what's happening here.
Right.
I do wonder if that changes the way that we view coaches and the way they recruit as they move forward.
It's got to do that, and it's got to do that. And you see, these businesses now going after these kids and these kids doing it, and you're like, well, he couldn't get it. And what does a coach say? I mean, if I'm a coach, I'm like, hey, I had, player A come here, but then this school and this booster or this guy owns a car dealership, I did all I could. So where does the blame of the coach end? I mean, if the coach went out and recruited this guy and said, I had him, in the last second somebody comes in, I think you got to say, hey, look, you did your best, and that's what happened. But you go back to what they do in the field. Didn't Alontae Taylor last year say, if I get an interception, you get a free cookie or something? Okay.
Go pick the ball off, man.
Yeah, and then do you try be aggressive late in the game because you want to get an interception that you make a pass interference call?
I don't know. It's a great question. Like, it's basically like that part of it is almost like a performance bonus to a certain degree.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And so now you got to hire I guess several people on your staff to figure out NIL deals. All right, what's Robbie got over? What's he doing over here? Did Jim get this over here? What's going on? But I also think at the same time, if you go, like, we laugh about what would have happened if Brent Stockstill, this would have been in at MTSU.
Yep.
If this was going on, because that guy was fantastic, face of the school, face of the football team, the deals he would have gotten off of that. And so I hope it's, they're getting rewarded at the big level, but I hope schools like Middle and Western and schools like that are also getting their due as well with guys that are playing this. But there's no end in sight with this.
Well, so let's talk about that a little bit more, because I think that's an interesting point in terms of the Middles and the Westerns and kind of the mid-level, mid-major college football programs in the country. It's always been, the haves and the have-nots. Like, it's, nobody's going to confuse MTSU with Alabama.
Correct.
But I do wonder, does this make it even worse? Like, does this NIL, transfer portal, all the stuff that we've talked about, is it going to be even that much harder for schools like Middle Tennessee, like Western Kentucky, Troy, whoever you want to throw out there, to compete and to maybe not even compete's the right word, but retain their good players?
Well, this is where I feel bad for a guy like Rick Stockstill. So you've got some really good players. Well, they're going to enter the portal.
Exactly.
And see what they're worth, right? So you're going to lose some of those guys because some schools like, hey, I've got a power washing company. I can, give you a deal and you'd be the face of my company. You lost that. So you look at depth at these schools. It's now become so important because these guys all enter the portal, and then you got to be the point if you're a coach. So if these guys enter the portal, it's like, all right, good luck. Do you open your house back up to them? Because they're going to leave you and go out and find a better deal, and they come back, and are they going to be upset because they didn't find that deal they wanted? Now they got to go back to MTSU. And so, again, you look at what's opening here for these people, and it's far-reaching. So I don't know what's going to happen with this.
No, it's going to be crazy. And the other part of this is, like, there's this idea out there that, eventually they're going to, put some sort of regulation in place to control all this. Like, I don't know how much you can control it. Like, it's free market NIL. Like, you can't like retroactively go back and close and put this toothpaste back in the tube.
What school has all their walk-ons are now? Is it Utah?
I think it was Wyoming. I think, yeah.
That all their walk-ons are now have some sort of NIL deal.
Oh yeah, I think it was Utah. Yeah.
Every walk on the team has some sort of NIL deal, whatever it is. Maybe it's $100 a month or $800, whatever it is. So
it's not huge money, but it's
smart.
Something. Yeah.
So that's smart. So it's like, hey, I want to go to Utah and get me a deal there. So it's already in place to get you a deal. And this, it's funny you talk about this. I mean, 10 years ago, you thought something like this might happen. It would. But now that's happening and going full throttle. Again, where does it end? Where does it all stop with all that? So are you, Tennessee, going to go out and say, all right, all of our walk-ons are now going to get a small deal? Because if you're other schools, why not? You got the money. Get somebody to sponsor all that
Pilot
stuff.
Flying J. Walk-on deals.
Are they still welcome in Knoxville? Is that
I don't know.
The Haslam, Fulmer, and everything that goes on up there? Boy, that's – woo, boy, that's been some crazy the last 10 years with our boy Dooley getting hired up there and all that. Yeah. So can you imagine Dooley negotiating this stuff, what's going on? Or, Butch is doing it at Arkansas State to the next level.
He's talking about the bricks. Dooley's talking about shower etiquette up there in Knoxville. It's good stuff.
Just terrible, man. And they just gone out and hired who was the one that was under the was it Calhoun, the coach at Air Force?
He was, and apparently they had a shot at like Gary Patterson at one time too. That was down at TCU.
Yeah. Let's get Derek Dooley.
Yeah.
But I don't. You know what? I don't blame. Was it Mike Hamilton? Because at the time you had to get. Kiffin leaves you in mid-January.
Yeah.
You get signing days 2 weeks away. So I blame a lot of that on Kiffin.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll get to more of your thoughts on college football coming up next. We got the Rex Rant, which will be hijacked by one of us coming up at 7:45. Looking forward to that.
Is he going to call in? I hope not.
I don't think he's calling in.
Good.
615-737-1025. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with the shot.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Whether it's the news, the traffic, the weather, or your COVID-19 vaccinations, it's important to stay up to date. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
It's watching the top players take the ice. It's hard-fought games that end in victory. It's showing your favorite team to your favorite people. Secure your seats for the 2022-23 Nashville Predators season today to ensure you never miss a game at Bridgestone Arena. Plus, enjoy Nashville locker room discounts, exclusive presale offers, and more. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. Join the Loyal Legion today and paint the town Preds. That's NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
1025 The Game is teaming up with Newton Motor Group and Souls for Souls to provide shoes for children experiencing homelessness in Nashville and the surrounding area. With school coming back, our goal is to raise $20,000, which will provide 1,000 pairs of shoes for kids. Please help however you can by going to thegamenashville.com/shoes. All donations go directly to Souls for Souls to give shoes to children in Middle Tennessee. thegamenashville.com/shoes.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously, I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into the DDC.
Stillman Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 1025 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 1063 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 1063 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Row. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Andrew from Dover on the text line says, do you think Bryce Young can win back-to-back Heisman trophies, quarterback at Alabama? I would say he will be well positioned to do that.
Well, he's going to be on the big screen. I mean, all the games are on TV, but we'll see him on the big stage every single week. So absolutely he can. It'll be tough because only one guy's won back-to-back Heisman trophies, and that's Archie Griffin in 74 and 75. I mean, you look at Tebow, won it in 07 as a sophomore. Like, well, he's just got to go. And the next year, 08, Bradford wins it. 09, Mark Ingram wins it. So to win that is a pretty big deal. But I mean, he'll be a top 5, right? I mean, so with the Heisman trophies turn into the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? Just get
C.J. Stroud from Ohio State will be in the discussion. I mean, there will be somebody in the discussion that we're not even thinking about right now because it happens every year.
That's
somebody forces their way into the conversation. But yeah, I mean, Bryce Young's going to have a chance to win the Heisman for sure.
You do. I do. I really like. I know he's not going to be in the run for the Heisman, but Hooker at Tennessee,
he's good.
If you get that offense rolling and you get in a rhythm, I mean, you look at their first couple of games: Ball State, Pittsburgh, Akron. I mean, there's a chance to really get that offense in sync and flow. And you got Florida at home.
So you need to beat Florida this year.
Yeah. So you start out 4-0 at home. Then you go take an LSU team that's, there's a week off for Tennessee between Florida and LSU. You got to go to LSU, and that's, of course, not easy to play. I was down there at the 2000 game, went in overtime. That LSU won. The 05 game, or the 2010 game. Well, 05 with Rick Clausen after the hurricane.
05 was after Katrina, yeah.
And that they came back and won. That was an unbelievable game. And then Dooley with 44 guys on the field at the end of the game. That was 2010.
The ultimate goal line defense. We're going to send our whole team out there.
What position? Doesn't matter. Just get on the field, man. We don't care. Flag on the field, Tennessee, half the state. Yeah. There we have it. So it's always going to be an epic game that happens down there. Then you come back and you got Alabama. I mean, so there's a chance you could start out 5-1. UT Martin, Kentucky, at Georgia in November, which I wish those games – that game used to be in early October. And then you roll out with Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. So Hooker gets that offense going. Ball State, how do you simulate that?
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, it's like the wishbone, man. That's why you play a wishbone team midway through the season. You don't want to do that because you haven't seen that offense all year long. Now you're telling the guys, all right, don't move. Stand here during a wishbone. And the guy moves like, told you not to move. Well, the ball is going that way, but it came back this way. So if Heupel and Hooker can get that offense rolling, it could be a nice year for Tennessee.
Yeah, it really could be. And it's one of those things where that offense – you've got a year of film on it and tape on it now if your opponent's in the SEC, but it's also one of those things is where they go so fast, like you can plan for it and you can watch film on it, but it's one thing to watch film on it, but when you're on the field and they're going at snapping the football every 6 seconds out there, I mean, the only way to really stop it is what we saw Lane Kiffin do last year. And just tell your guys start rolling around on the ground left and right.
Every year there's a game that's so bizarre that it's hard to describe it to somebody who didn't see that. And that was the game that was just so – because all I remember is the golf ball and the mustard, right? That's all. But what led up to that, everything that went on during that game with the injuries, air quote again, that happened, it's the way it's the only way you can stop it. It's the only – so now is it a thing where – was it a rule that they threw out there that if you do get injured like that, I know you got to go out for a play, but like you got to stay out for 10 plays, or there's got to be something they figure out with this.
It was even a thing in the Music City Bowl with Purdue and Tennessee, and it's not just Tennessee that this happens against. I mean, there's it's a tough balance to strike because you don't want to legislate against people actually getting hurt out there.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's difficult to tell if they're actually hurt or if they're rolling around just because they're trying to stop the clock or get a breather or whatnot. But I would like to see, like, if you fall around like that, you're out for the series. Like, you can't come back in until the next time you're on defense. That'd be the way I'd like to see it.
Well, then you got who keeps up with that?
Yeah, it's
some
a
guy
thing.
in the booth, and you got to hire another guy in the booth and say, all right, wait, number 10 can't come in because he's out. I don't know. I like you got to sit out an X number of plays on defense, But then again, you got to make, was that 8 or was that 9? Oh, if it's me up there, as much as I'm on my phone twittering, I'd be like, oh, wait, is that 4 or 5? I think that's 4. No, wait, that was 6. And then so it's chaos. But you look at football, I mean, it's the whole goal of the defense is not let the offense score. So whatever it takes to stop the offense and what Kiffin figured out, just lay down on the field. Was that the game where who was the backup quarterback that came at the end?
That's Joe Milton.
Yeah, didn't throw the pass.
Didn't throw the ball. Who is Joe Rexroad's starting quarterback for the Vols in 2023 that's going to lead them to a national title? Joe Milton.
I just remember seeing people like, what in the world happened there? But again.
Got to throw that ball, man.
That was just a chaotic night at Neal. It's one of those games like, man, I wish I was there. I wish I was there for that game that we talked about for so long.
Nick, do we have a clip on Paul Feinbaum on the college football landscape? We'll get to that. Right now. Here's what Paul Feinbaum had to say on the changing college football landscape after USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten.
There's one important element here that could tip the balance, Hannah, and that's the one school that everybody wants, the big whale that the conferences have been going after for as long as you were in school at Notre Dame and I've been watching college football, and that's the University of Notre Dame. Right now, for those who don't follow this like we do, they have an affiliation with the ACC. They're in the ACC in every sport but hockey and in football. In football, they play 5 conference games. The ACC is desperate now to convince Notre Dame once and for all to join the league. If they fail, the ACC will almost cease to exist. And then does Notre Dame stay independent, or does Notre Dame go to either the Big Ten or the SEC? I think everything is currently in play right now.
So that was Paul Feinbaum as what the future of Notre Dame looks like. I do think before there's more expansion either way with the Big Ten and the SEC, they're going to wait and see what happens with Notre Dame. Whether that's them staying put and remaining independent, I think the next push by either the Big Ten or the SEC will involve Notre Dame. And then once that's settled one way or the other, then you move on after that to more expansion. But I am interested to see it. Like, Feinbaum brought it up there. They've been kind of in a weird, strange setup with the ACC in terms of we're not really a part of your conference, but if we need to fill out some games, you can have some ACC opponents. There's the TV deals that go along with this and make it complicated. Like the ACC, their TV deal with ESPN runs through like 2035 or something like that.
Goodness.
So got another 13 years left on that bad boy.
Well, Notre Dame is like you have a party, right?
Yeah.
And Notre Dame's like, hey, we're having a party. Notre Dame's like, I might stop by.
Right.
If they're the ACC, I might stop by.
Yeah.
And they stop by and they drink your beer and flirt with your women and leave. And that's what Notre Dame's doing right now. By the way, there are 7 FBS independents. Can you name another independent besides Notre Dame?
Oh, God. Probably not. I'm trying to rack my brain here.
I'll give you one. Army.
Okay. I was going to go military academy.
Yeah.
I was going to say Air Force.
BYU.
BYU is what I was going to say, too.
Come on, Nick. Hop in quicker.
Yeah. Get in there, Nick.
The Liberty Flames.
Oh, yeah.
New Mexico State
Liberty.
Aggies.
Liberty's joining Conference USA actually next year.
Are they?
Yep. There's several schools.
Down.
There you go, Nick. Look at you, man, doing your job. UConn and UMass.
Okay.
Are the other? So Notre Dame is out there with the independents.
around.
Yeah, just hanging out there. So I agree. And there's got to be some sort of backdoor deal working currently with these conferences.
Got to be.
Would it be great if Notre Dame said we're going to join Conference USA?
Yeah.
That's where we're going. I'm like, what? That's expected now. That'll throw a kink in everything.
Long-awaited rivalry of Notre Dame and Memphis. Looking forward to it.
But if you're looking, Utah would be a great school to gobble up if you're Big Ten. Why stop with USC and UCLA? Go after Utah. And we talked about Oregon earlier in the show, but you got Cal and Colorado. There's a lot of schools still out there.
Well, I like in the Big 12 too. You've still got Oklahoma State and Baylor and Texas Tech and all these programs. Like, I'm interested. The further this goes down the line, and the more that the Pac-12 and the Big 12 start to dissolve, for lack of a better term. Like, if you're the SEC, do you have any interest whatsoever in picking up like an Oklahoma State or a Baylor and some of those Texas and Oklahoma schools, just with maybe the built-in rivalry that comes with Oklahoma and Texas joining your league? Like, at some point, you're going to put like 35 teams in your league anyway. So what difference does it make?
Just go ahead and take them all and gobble them up. I don't know. It's always laugh people like, well, get so and so for basketball. Trust me, they ain't thinking about basketball right now, right? You're not going to bring Kansas into the SEC because of basketball. You're going to bring that football footprint into the conference and take it. And it's all about the TV market. Rutgers is so appealing because it's in the New York City. Now, do people in New York City care about Rutgers?
No.
Probably not.
But you're still in the market.
You're still in the market. So, boom, you can count that number one TV market as part of your deal, which goes on. And that's, again, let's don't kid ourselves. It's all about money. That's it. It's all about money.
No question about it. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll have the Rob rant coming up next. Looking forward to that. Get Joe's thoughts on that as well. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. You can go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. This season, all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run hit. I've been high on the Yankees all year, and they are crushing the ball. Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, they would be the way that I would go. But you take it any way you want to take it. What are you waiting on? Just pick your home run hitter and turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. So head on over to your FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code ROB. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max bonus of $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
On ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red Weather Alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Heat advisories going into effect by the end of the morning, with heat index values climbing up to 105 to 110 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor Maddich is with us as always on a Tuesday. Trev, I think the Longhorns are back with Arch in the fold. Your thoughts?
They're absolutely back. Now they've got to get the players in and get them coached up. But with Arch Manning committing after Quinn Ewers, who was also one of the top quarterbacks, the top quarterback by some services. When he left high school, went to Ohio State, and then came back to Texas for this season. When both of those guys decide they want to come in and play for Steve Sarkisian, it raises eyebrows among other recruits. And, when you look at Arch Manning, it's not just Arch that gives the stamp of approval to Texas and to Sarkisian. It is also Archie and Peyton and Eli, the entire Manning family, the first family of football, that has basically said, we trust our treasure to Steve Sarkisian and his staff and the University of Texas. And everybody else looks at that. Parents look at that and say, wow. Because it's really hard to say that this is an NIL deal because of his status as a recruit and his family name. He's going to get big NIL money no matter where he goes, right? Mm-hmm. And so this, you can legitimately say, was unlikely to have been an NIL choice. And so now you start to look at what are some of the other options. Well, okay, so Steve Sarkisian is a developer of quarterbacks. He developed Jalen Hurts into a starting NFL quarterback. He developed Tua Tagovailoa into a national champion and a starting NFL quarterback. And most surprisingly, he developed Mac Jones.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. When Smashville wants to rock. Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz. Darren McFarland.
I feel like we're a better playoff team.
Willie Daunic.
You're in a window of a division you can win.
Chase McCabe.
I'm not signing him for more than $1 million.
The DDC. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. The time is now for the Rex Rant.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
On Robbie and Rex Road, here on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant here on 102.5 The Game, which I've hijacked today. It is now the Rob Rant.
So what does he usually rant about? Let me guess. Twitter and...
There's a lot of Twitter. There's a lot of sports takes, basketball takes that get him fired up. It's just, you never really know.
He's got. I wonder if he takes something for his blood pressure. He has to. Rex Road has to, because
some of it's Stillman.
I've infuriated him on Twitter, and so was our other friend Justin Beasley.
Oh yeah,
which really gets him.
Beasley gets him fired up. It's fun.
Oh, it's so good. All right, what's your rant, brother?
All right, so we were talking about fireworks earlier.
Yeah.
Which, God bless America, shooting off your fireworks. You live your life. Nothing wrong with that. But I will say this. We were at, my family and I, we went to the Freedom Fest in Hendersonville on Sunday night, so July 3rd.
Sure.
So we walked down to the park, and, there's a fireworks show that they do every year. It's basically been the same show or similar for the last 20 years that I've been up there. It's great.
Sorry you weren't impressed, but go ahead.
Well, it's a significant – it's an impressive, it's a fine show. But there's a significant amount of money that's placed into it. But my problem is, the show begins at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And while the show's going on, there's like these yahoos next to us in the field in which we're watching the show that are firing off their own fireworks as the fireworks show is going on. It's like,
doesn't that defeat the purpose?
Take about a 15-minute break from your little bottle rocket show over here that you got at the firework tent and just leave it alone and let the professionals do their work.
Yeah, because that's what we're watching.
15 minutes. Nobody cares about your little bitty fireworks that are going off next to the big show. I like, first off, you're there to watch the show anyway. Like you came and you got your chairs.
Let them do all the work
going on. Let them do the work, fire off the fireworks, and then when the fireworks show is over in Nashville, go back over there, start lighting your stuff off. But there were so many people that while the actual fireworks show is going on, they're over there just lighting things off. And, of course, a couple of them go rogue, so you got one going like people are ducking and, like, running out of the way over there. It's just like,
really?
Leave things alone. All you have to do is just pause for 15 to 20 minutes. It's not that long of a fireworks show. And as soon as it's over, you can get back to lighting these things off. I have no problem with you shooting your own fireworks.
So more than just a couple of yahoos. Or a bunch
there
of
was a lot. There was a whole lot of them going on down there.
I told you to get out of Hendersonville years ago, man.
I know it.
Why do you do that? All right, so off that. So I was in Fairview Sunday night hosting their event, and it was perfect. I mean, they put on an event that's perfect. I mean, they had Rubik's Groove came and played for 2.5 hours, and so I didn't see any of what you're talking about, and people just waited around. It was just a fantastic night, but that would infuriate me to be enjoying a fireworks show and somebody next to you throwing firecrackers and bottle rockets, which I told you bottle rockets have now become they're
almost obsolete.
They're in the back seat of the car now. They're not up front with you anymore. So that would
I would give these people credit. Now some of them they had artillery shells as it was going. So it's still
duly noted.
They're relatively speaking for fireworks that you can buy at a tent. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're not what the professionals
now,
are.
Did you spend any money on fireworks this year?
I did not this year.
Okay.
Typically I do, but not this
What's
year.
What's your price range?
Typically I'll go $100.
That's me. Same way, $100.
Yeah.
We went $100 and you buy. Now they've got them in a big package, like a gift basket. So you get in there and you buy, and half the ones in our gift basket, were terrible.
Yeah.
They shoot like 4 or 5 nice little things that, and like, get it off the list. And then you get the ones artillery shell, which went up. My son lit one last night that I promise you woke up people in Cincinnati. That thing was so loud. I was like, what in the world's going on? And one he let off, I swear to God, it sounded like the hammer of God. It's like, all right, we're being raptured. Y'all take care. We're out of here. There was that loud. I can only imagine other places how loud they get to be. And they've evolved. Roman candles were my go-to.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'd have Roman candle fights. And I would like Roman candle, and I'd get within close, and you think about it, how stupid is all this? I've got a Roman candle within 10 feet of your head, and I'm just shooting it nonstop. But Roman candles were always my personal favorites, just because you can aim them really good, and they can inflict some sort of small damage on your body.
Oh yeah.
Fireworks. We don't do that. After Jason Pierre-Paul, we don't do fireworks.
We leave those alone.
So now with my son, I'm like, get away from him, take off running, and don't be around him. But they're still, but the thing is now, for the next week, you hear fireworks go off.
Well, this is the other thing, and my dad and I were talking about this yesterday. You have the people that were shooting them off in like the middle of the show, but there's also the people that go fire them off at like 1:30 in the afternoon. Right. And I'm like, you can't see them. Like, that defeats half the purpose. Like, I understand it's cool to light things off and just hearing the explosion is fun.
Yeah.
But part of it is like seeing the firework. And at 1:30 in the afternoon, you can't see anything.
Oh, yeah. Is this one of your neighbors? Or
this was in Springfield.
In Springfield. Yeah. See, I told you to get a Robertson
County.
County.
Watch out.
I told you to get Hendersonville, you got Robertson County.
Vacate the Middle Tennessee area.
Just get out of here. That goes on. But that's crazy, though, with the guys lighting the fireworks during the event. It'd be like going downtown and watching the big firework thing. Hey, look over here at me and my bottle rockets that I'm shooting off that nobody cares about. I don't get the mindset to do that.
I don't get it. But it was everywhere.
And I wouldn't shoot off bottle rockets around people anyway that I didn't know.
No.
Back in the day, I'd break you'd have a golf club and you would snap off the one end.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a great, like a hand cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, those bottle rockets took off like the space shuttle, man. I could sit here in Donaldson and hit your house in Springfield, man, with my bottle rockets through the shaft of the golf club and do all that.
That's some skill right there.
Yeah, but again, you spend. I like to see how much we as a country spend on fireworks each year?
Oh, it's an absurd amount.
Yeah.
And, everything's more expensive right now this year, so
I
can only imagine that price has gone up significantly.
What is $100 at you? We'll get you 500 Black Cat fireworks, and that's it.
Yeah,
really?
About a 2-minute fireworks show.
That's
great
all
stuff.
I have. Yeah, there were some that were, duds that we bought. The firecrackers, they're not the same anymore.
No, the quality suffered a little bit.
You light one, you throw it to a friend, it pops next to them, they just look at you, look at the fireworks, it's kind of lost what it's meant to be right there. So we'll move on from the fireworks and buy the artillery shells, which, I'm sorry, when my son pulled out the artillery shells, I'm like, what in the world have we gotten into? What is going on here? And then it lights off, and I told you that's when the hammer of God comes down. Like, my goodness, we need to stop right now.
Shade from Ashland City on the text line says, bro, the artillery shells, I feel like they overloaded ours. They didn't go very high, but it sounded like I just shot 5 bottles of Tangerine at once. It's coming from Shade from Ashland City on the text line.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we had 3 packages of artillery, and one only, you're supposed to go up way high, but this one package went up like 4 to 5 feet, and they exploded. And I was like, good Lord, it's still loud. You want to see them up as high as they can go. That's the best thing. But when they come down like that, man.
There's always that one guy, too, that thinks he's some pyrotechnic expert out there and comes close to blowing his finger off every year. It always happens.
And he stands up and he can't find his lighter, and he's like, "Yeah, where's the lighter?" And then give me a punk.
Or the guy that tries to light too many at once. Like, I'm gonna hang around as long as I possibly can to light 6 of them off. And by the time you get to the 4th one, there's one flying past your eyebrow.
They tie the fuses on the bottle rockets together. They look like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible trying to hardwire something or hotwire something. And then, one of the bottle rockets doesn't do anything, and the other one just takes off, and it's just, like I said, it's just a nightmare what happens. So we'll deal the next week or so. There'll be a few around Labor Day. And then,
but when is the appropriate time in your mind to stop?
We're done.
July 4th is over with.
You're done.
But it's not going to be done today. There will be people firing off fireworks.
I think you should, as a parent, you should say, we're going to, because we exhausted everything last night.
Yeah.
Everything. It's funny. People are like, you shouldn't fire off in Davidson County. Well, I'm about 80 miles at my brother's house in Macon County. I'm nowhere near Davidson County in a giant field. But thanks for your concern.
Yes.
But I think you let them all go on 4th of July and get it done with and be over with. Because I don't want my son coming home and saying, hey, we got some left. No, we're good, man. We exploded everything last night.
Well, I agree. Now, I think the latest, I counted last year, and then, again, this is in Robertson County. But there were people still shooting off fireworks on July 18th last year. July 18th.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's 2 weeks later.
Right. I'm surprised it wasn't July 25th. I think it keeps going on and on and on because you have those. But, again, I exhausted supply last night, so my son has no chance to do anything today.
Yeah.
It's done. It's over.
Totally eliminated. Yep. This has been the Rob Ranch. You can catch it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. We'll have that every day coming up this week. Coming up next, we'll be joined by John Glennon from SI.com and NHL.com. We'll get his thoughts on Ryan McDonough being traded by the Tampa Bay Lightning to the Nashville Predators and what that means for the Preds as they move forward here with free agency just a little bit over a week away at this point. We'll get to that next. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Duchesne scores! Titans touchdown!
We live the game.
He's more of a physical receiver.
Are you looking for him? Is he making plays?
We are.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
The leading receiver.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you looking to take ownership in a position that will support your growth and development? We are an excavation and site utilities contractor. Several things set us apart from our competition, but we take the most pride in the professional development of our people. We have multiple openings for operators, pipe layers, and laborers. Our pay and benefits are second to none, including our 401k program. Apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC. Build people, move dirt.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop in the Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, a dab bar at the Hendersonville location, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously, I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Jared Stillman.
Football season, and then football season becomes hockey season, and then it becomes draft season, and then it becomes hockey playoff season.
And Company.
Maybe this is something to just get people a little bit interested.
It's a matter of not having too many chefs in the kitchen.
Catch Stillman and Company on your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And I can spot it from a mile away.
Watch live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope.
We here at 1025 and 1063 The Game are looking for our next great executive producer. Hey, it's Chase McCabe, the program director. If you think that's you and you think that you have the experience, the drive, and of course you share that love of sports, send your resume and cover letter to together@cromwellmedia.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road to DDC.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 and 1063.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. The leading receiver. Awesome game 7.
Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rex Road. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 and 1063 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Welcome back in. Hour number 3 of Robbie and Rexroad here on 1025, 1063 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Big Joe Dubin and Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend John Glennon from NHL.com and SI.com as well. Johnny, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
You're great. Appreciate you taking time to join us on this 5th of July morning. So, John, a big move made by the Predators over the weekend. They trade for Ryan McDonough to bring him in for the Defense Corps, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Lightning. 33 years old, has been a terrific shutdown defenseman in this league. What do you make of the move and what it means for the Predators as they move forward here?
I think there's a lot to like about this move. You know, starting with clearly you're bringing in one of the league's better defensemen, and you gave up not too much, obviously, very little in return in terms of personnel anyway. You look at so many things that Ryan McDonough can bring this team. You start off, as you mentioned, a great shutdown defensive player. This is a guy who played, huge minutes for a team that's been to the Stanley Cup Final 3 straight years. He's been to the Stanley Cup Final 4 times in his career. He's won 2 cups. He's been a leader. He was a captain of the Rangers, an alternate with the Lightning. And you kind of go on in that regard. Another guy who can sort of mentor some of the younger defense on this team as well. So I think there's a ton to like about this move, especially in the present. If there are concerns, it comes a little bit down the road probably because this is another big contract to another guy who is not young. But as for the present window, I think it's an excellent move for the Preds.
So, John, to that degree, where do you think he plays to begin with? Because I was thinking about this. That left side now, you've got Yossi, Ekholm, and McDonough. That's pretty darn good left side. I wonder if they slide either Ekholm or McDonough over to the right to play with Roman Yossi at this point. What do you think of that?
Yeah, there's certainly there's a ton of options. I guess the first possibility that kind of struck me was maybe that shutdown deep pair. That's kind of what he did in Tampa. So what comes to mind for me is maybe a McDonough and Ekholm pairing as kind of a shutdown group. But certainly there are other options as well. Could you even slide him up with Roman Yossi if you wanted to do that? Maybe. But you also like Roman Yossi with one of those, maybe the younger guys. Certainly he and Carrier played well together also. So, but either way, you're probably going to have one of your pairings as two lefties. But to me, the one that kind of strikes me first is that Ekholm McDonough shutdown pair. Also play a lot of penalty kill as well.
John, it's good to hear your voice, brother.
Joe, same to you, sir.
It's always good to talk to you. All right, so I was talking to Robbie earlier. From outside, because I haven't covered the team in a couple of years, but I did notice that I thought they lacked a little grit. The guy that go in who gets bloody, who gives everything he has. Because they had that in the 2017 run. They had the guys, the fiddler, the Zonerchucks, who weren't looking for the headline but came in and filled the role. I like this guy because I think he comes in and he brings a little grit to this team. What do you say?
He definitely does. I think they probably have built a pretty good identity. We know that's kind of a buzzword, a good buzzword for the Predators. Their identity the last year or so has certainly been a pretty physical team in general. But, I think there's more in Ryan McDonough as well. There's that tenacity. I believe, he has set the NHL playoff record, career playoff record for block shots. I think he's, over 135 or so in his career. That kind of tells you something right there about the kind of player he is, about the sort of sacrifices that he makes. He can hit. Certainly he can play that style of game. Excellent penalty killer. And as I say, leadership. Everywhere this guy has been, he has played a strong leadership role. So I think, he brings an awful lot to the Preds. And you also, one other factor that we maybe haven't mentioned either, too, is that, maybe Philip Forsberg is taking a look at this also and saying, hey, I like this addition. This clearly makes our team better right now. Maybe this makes it all the more likely I'll sign with Nashville. Purely speculation, but you can't rule that out.
Do you think he comes in here, John, and acts like a big baby like Freddie Freeman about I'm no longer with Tampa and they didn't want me and I miss my guys? Or do you think he comes in and embraces being in Nashville, being a Predator? Because we want him to come in here and embrace being part of this community and this culture and this team.
Well, that's the interesting thing, Joe, is that, he had a no movement clause in his contract. So even when the Tampa Bay Lightning approached him about, wanting a trade, he didn't have to agree to that. He could have said, look, here's my contract. I've got no movement. I don't have to go anywhere. You guys do what you want, figure out your budget otherwise, but I don't have to go anywhere. But, he agreed, to be open to a trade, especially as he said in his sort of introductory presser the other day. He said, coming to Nashville, he said he saw all kinds of good possibilities. He said he saw a team that was competitive, that had, structure in place to make an even better run in the playoffs, that he really liked the talent here. So to me, I think it was clear from what he said, and he was very professional. He said that there were probably some tough discussions with Tampa. Nobody wants to learn, a week after you're in the Stanley Cup final that, the team is looking to trade you. And I think that was challenging, but he clearly looked to me like a guy who had gotten past that, who was kind of ready for the next step in his career, and seemed pretty eager and enthusiastic about coming to Nashville.
John Glennon from SI.com and NHL.com on with us here on Robbie and Rexroad. So, John, to that point, we are 8 days away now from NHL free agency beginning. You get the draft later this week. Two-part question for you. Any different feeling on Forsberg now that the window has gotten pretty short for him to sign here with the Predators? And number two, with the McDonough trade, what else do you think David Poile could be looking at in addition to Forsberg?
Yeah, I've got to stay consistent, Robbie. I've been saying for months I thought this was going to get done, and yes, the window is growing shorter before free agency starts. I still think it's going to happen. From what, I thought Pierre LeBrun had a pretty good article the other day in The Athletic, and, talking about how the difference does not seem to be that great at this point, per year, but when you multiply it by 8 years, which is what this contract is going to be, that makes a bit more of a difference. But still, I think the Predators kind of have to give a little bit more on this, because Philip Forsberg knows he can get that kind of money, more money, if he hits the free agent market. And I think the Preds, in my estimation, are probably going to give a little bit. I think this is going to get done because I think both sides really want to get it done. And then to your second part of your question, I still think that there's more, in terms of forwards. I think certainly they've solidified the D-core now with this McDonough move, because not only does Ryan McDonough add to your top four, but he makes the top six that much better, just coming a domino effect. And we know the Preds have kind of struggled at that third defensive pairing. Nine forward maybe at least, or top six potentially, that needs to be added to this group. And I know you don't have endless amounts of money, but if there is that kind of money available, I still think there's some depth up front that needs to be addressed. And even though you've got some up-and-comers like a Tomasino or maybe even a Janot in a top six role, I still think there's more room for maybe one more talent up there.
John, when Paul Kariya signed here, 05, 06, whatever it was, it opened the eyes to other players in the league like, man, something really cool is happening in Nashville. Do you remember that? I mean, that was like, sure. How'd they get Kariya to come there? Flip the side on this. If Forsberg does not re-sign in Nashville, is there collateral damage because of that?
Possibly. I do think Nashville is in a pretty good place in terms of what players think about the city, the organization. We've seen so many of these players have been re-signed over the years. When you look at, Roman Josi, Ekholm, the goaltenders over the years, certainly Johansson, go on. So most of the top players in recent years have wanted to return, and they've been able to get a deal done. So, I think it would be a surprise, certainly, to a lot of people and to players if they couldn't get this deal done. I have a feeling it's going to happen. We'll see, but I see the Preds giving a little bit more, and I think it's going to happen.
All right, John, real quickly, one Titans question for you. Your thoughts on two positions, probably the two positions we've talked about the most, heading into training camp coming up in a couple of weeks, and that is wide receiver and offensive line. Any different outlook on those two positions now that minicamp is behind us?
I still think those are two positions that, as you say, hold the most questions. At wide receiver, you just don't know right now who's your number one, who's your number two. Which is kind of a scary position to go into training camp with. Robert Woods, assuming he's healthy, is going to be your guy. But, okay, you still have to prove that he's 100%. And Traylon Burks, question mark, So are you still looking maybe, at the group? Do you still think, maybe a guy like a Will Fuller, despite the fact he has been so injured over the years, is he a guy you might look to as a speed threat that you might pick up? Offensive line, I still – Dylan Radins, I like the fact that they're focused on him now at right tackle, that he's not switching back and forth as much, but I think he still has to prove he is the guy there. And at both right tackle and at left guard, I still think, maybe those are places where additions could be made if things don't work out so well in training camp. You've got like guys like an Eric Flowers or Darrell Williams are among some other guys out there. So, I think those are the positions to watch in terms of whether their starters are on the roster right now or whether maybe there's some additions to be made.
John Glennon from SI.com, NHL.com, our guest here on Robbie and Rexroad. Johnny, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking time to join us this morning.
Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. John Glennon, our guest here on Robbie and Rexroad. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. What do you make of the Ryan McDonough trade from Tampa Bay to the Nashville Predators? What does it mean for the Predators as they set up their offseason beginning here this week with the draft coming up later this week? We'll get into that next. This is Robbie and Rexroad here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Mattress Firm's July 4th sale. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $500 on select mattresses.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE, 615-895-HOSE.
QC Kinetics patient Robert Patterson, a veteran and business owner, struggled at work and in the gym with chronic agonizing shoulder pain.
Those injuries just continue to nag, and if you don't treat them, they just get worse. And I just kind of abused my body for a long time, and it finally had said enough is enough.
That's okay, because QC Kinetics tells your pain, hey, enough is enough. Their regenerative treatments bring you relief by helping restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs, no downtime, and best of all, no surgery.
I was able to exceed the goals that I had previously attained in the gym. It was absolutely worth its weight in gold, so I could continue to live life without limitation.
Ready to get lasting relief from your joint pain? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about how natural biologic treatments can get you lasting results. Call now. It's a free consultation.
615-249-4024. QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024.
Hey, I'm Matt Saggio. I'm a marketing consultant with Cromwell Media. I get the opportunity to help local and regional businesses grow by pairing the right marketing solutions with their goals. You hear advertisers I work with on the radio every day, and you see their digital ads on your phone. I love what I do, and have been doing this for going on 10 years. Are you looking for a rewarding career in media advertising? Do you love helping people? Let's talk about you joining our team. Shoot us an email at together@cromwellmedia.com. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
We here at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game are looking for our next great executive producer. Hey, it's Chase McCabe, the program director. If you think that's you and you think that you have the experience, the drive, and of course you share that love of sports, send your resume and cover letter to together@cromwellmedia.com.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robbie and Rexroad podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We may now begin our day.
You're listening to Robbie and Rexroad
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rexroad here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Big Joe Dubin, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game studio on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks to John Glennon for joining us in the last segment. John Glennon, he's about like Joe Dubin, man of many hats.
He is. By the way, explain Twitch to me. What is that?
Well, it started as basically like a platform you can watch other people play video games. That's the world we're living in.
Boy, that's exciting.
Have you ever done it?
Played video games or watch people?
Watch people play video games.
No, I've not done that.
Well, apparently it's a real big thing. People make a lot of money off of it. But you
By watching?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like you can – there are people that they play like Madden or Fortnite or whatever, and people will watch, and they have like thousands of people watching them play and make millions of dollars off of it.
Are you serious?
It's a real thing.
So we could be playing a video game like Resident Evil 7 and have people watch us.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Once again, where was that career path when I was
competitive eating? I was failed at McGavitt. Competitive eating and watching video games. That is amazing. So what does Twitch evolve to now?
Well,
I sound
there's
like
still
an old
a lot
man. I apologize.
Well, there's still a lot of that, but you can stream shows on it. You can do a whole bunch of stuff on it.
So it's like the Xbox. It's evolved a little
Yeah.
bit. You could do all that. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you always bringing up Twitter, Twitch, and.
But now you can go home today and spend 3-4 hours watching other people play video games if you want
That's
to.
what that will get me to 500 pounds by the 1st of September. That'll work out really good. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. That's what you do when you hang out with the young folks. You know what's going on.
That's what we're here for. No question about it. Big trade over the weekend. The Preds acquire Ryan McDonough from the Tampa Bay Lightning. They give up Grant Mismash, who is a prospect, forward prospect, and Philip Myers, who they got last year from Philadelphia in the Ryan Ellis trade. So 2 prospects given up, not a whole lot given up by the Preds, to bring in a veteran defenseman that's won a lot of hockey games, 2 Stanley Cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning, longtime player for the Rangers as well. He's 33 years old. He has 4 years left on his contract, so maybe you worry about at the end of that contract it looking a little rough with the amount of money that he's being paid at $6.75 million a year. But, Joe, all in all, I look at this move. It definitely strengthens their defense core. It gives you options now if you're John Hines. And I do wonder, if you're David Poyle, you've been spending the last couple of months trying to get this Forsberg contract finished. It's not like you can't do other things while you're trying to get that done. But I do wonder if some of this, as John brought up in the last segment, was, hey, Philip, just went and got Ryan McDonough. He's going to help us win right now.
Oh, that's a great point.
I do wonder if that factors into this at all.
Right. So you think as far as defensive men done? I mean, now it's all focused
I think they're
on Forsberg.
done. Yeah, I think they're done with defense. I mean, you add him, it shuffles Fabro down to probably the third pair would be my guess, which I think is about where he needs to be at this point in his career. So I think you're feeling pretty good about your defense core heading into next year. Now you need to go add some firepower. And if Forsberg doesn't sign and he hits free agency and goes somewhere else, well, you're in trouble in terms of your forward group.
But you covered this team for a long time. But we asked John this. I mean, if Forsberg does not sign here, does that send a message to other guys like, well, if Forsberg can't make it there, then I'm going to scratch that off my list.
I think it sends a message that maybe he doesn't believe in the direction of the team in terms of them being competitive and winning the cup, because I think it's been a long process to get to the point in this negotiation where the money is close, but I think they're starting to get there at this point. So Pierre LeBrun put it out there over the weekend. Apparently the Predators are looking for the low 8s in terms of the money, and the Philip Forsberg and his agency are looking for the high 8s. So it's not that big of a difference in terms of the Predators. This is just a random number I'm throwing out, but let's say the Predators are offering $8.2 million and Forsberg wants $8.8 million per year. It's not a huge difference.
Why don't you pony up that dough?
Well, it's a big difference for me.
And let Tim McGraw do that if he wants his song to be heard anymore inside the arena.
That's right.
What's the biggest contract in the NHL?
Connor McDavid. He makes $12.5 a year, I think.
So why doesn't Forsberg go for that?
Because he's not as good as Connor McDavid.
Okay.
It just, I think $8.5 million is about right where he should be per year. About right in that ballpark
for 8 years.
For 8 years.
God, just guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed money.
Tell my son.
That's the beauty of an NHL contract.
We're going to stop playing football and go do hockey now. I mean, if you can get all that, signing that massive deal that goes on.
I can't believe some of the NBA contracts being thrown around. You got guys that people have never heard of. This guy named Lou Dort the other day signed with the Oklahoma City Thunder. 99% of people don't even know who he is. He signed a 5-year, $87 million contract.
What's his name again?
Lou Dort.
That's the name I'd do if I was calling a fake pizza order in. What's your name? That's Luke Dork. Okay, we'll bring that over. I remember when Mike Conley Jr. signed that massive deal with the Grizzlies.
God, yeah.
I was like, I've heard of him, and he's what deal? And you're like, good Lord. But you know what? Good for those guys. Because you look at somebody like Jack Nicholson for playing the Joker in Batman made $50 million, okay? For one movie.
Yeah.
And then we gripe about it. So what? I mean, get your money. I mean, that's fine. But don't give up the effort. I mean, don't give up the grind. But somebody said, you get those money. It's hard to grind it out when you're now sleeping on silk sheets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, so you go from sleeping on your friend's footlocker, and now you've got an $8 million home somewhere. I mean, I guess it's a little different. We saw that in Rocky 3, right? Rocky got all the money, living the high life, but he got back to what he does best, and that's box, and he took Clubber laying down. I don't know. I just think that
spoiler alert.
If that's why I didn't go see Elvis the movie. Somebody told me he dies at the end. I'm like, damn you! I don't know how this ended. I want to see Elvis my own. I just think it sends a bad sign if Forsberg does not sign here. But if he does sign here, I mean, you flip the script 180, and you see, like, you know what? Yeah, if he's got there, you got the good defenseman coming in here. It's about time to get this ship back going because you got, Duchesne and Johansson and Yossi. It's not like this is a team with no talent on it.
No, like those guys are, in some cases late 20s and in a lot of cases early 30s. Like if you're ever going to win with those guys, I mean, it's now. Like you're going to have to. I mean, you've got Roman Yossi in the middle of his prime. Forsberg's entering into his prime. Johansson, Duchesne is, he'll be 32 next year. Like you've got to, if you're going to win with that core group, it's going to have to be now because, those guys start to be 34, 35, 36 years old. I mean, it's just the way things go in the NHL. You slow down some. So then you've got to reset and try to find some younger guys that are that level of player. And quite frankly, I don't really think they have those guys right now that are young, that are that level of player. So it's an interesting spot that they're in because I think one thing we've learned now that, Bill Haslam's coming in and the ownership group talked a couple of weeks ago, making the playoffs every year is pretty important to them. And I know there are fans that kind of roll their eyes and they say, well, that's great. Making the playoffs is fine. I'd love to go win a Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty obvious that the Predators ownership group right now doesn't have a whole lot of interest in tanking, for lack of a better word, and trying to, to be bad, to get one of those generational type players. Like making the playoffs on a yearly basis is important to them. It's important business-wise. So, like, right now, as constructed, I think the team is certainly a playoff team. How much better than that can they be? Like, can they get to a place with some more moves this offseason where they're competing for a Stanley Cup? I don't know. I mean, that path is going to be pretty difficult to get to.
What? The draft is when?
Yeah, the draft is Thursday.
This Thursday?
This Thursday. Yep.
Okay, and so the Preds have the NHL draft to me is like Major League Baseball draft.
That's the thing because, like, you draft somebody in the NHL and it's
in
2,
10 years.
maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years in some cases before they get there. Like, it's just – that's why the NFL draft is so cool is because it's – all right, I'm drafting this guy, and he's coming now. He's going to help me right now.
You play right now.
Yeah.
Who's the Preds' top prospect?
Probably a goalie. His name's Yaroslav Askarov, and he's a goalie. And they've got one forward that's pretty good player in Luke Evangelista, but they don't really have a guy that's –
Oh, is he any kin to Linda Evangelista?
I don't know. Maybe so.
Oh, let's hope so.
You have to ask him. Maybe we'll get him on the show.
Let's hope it's not his mom. Hope it's his sister and to come to some of the games. Who's the player the Preds drafted a couple years ago? His sisters are here in town.
That's Fabro. Yeah.
Fabro. Okay,
yeah.
Fabro.
Yeah.
How's he doing, by the way?
He's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
well, you got a good memory there, Robbie Stanley.
Hey.
I remember bits and pieces of things that happened.
I remember the amount of useless information I have in my brain is unbelievable.
Are they still trying to make it in country music? Or
I know that I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
You should figure that stuff out, Robbie.
I'll see if I can figure that out.
So the goalie is a top prospect?
Yeah, they've got a goalie in the minors right now that's a top prospect. He's really good.
So how does that play out going forward? I just keep bringing him up and see what happens?
He just came over from Russia. So my guess is the next 2 years he's going to play in Milwaukee and probably get some seasoning down there. And then, Saros' contract will be coming to close to an end at that point, and you can reevaluate from there.
We were speaking at this Preds thing a few weeks ago, you and I and Rex Road and whoever else. You said you went up to see Packa on a rehab assignment in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you said that people lost their minds?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was like you brought up Elvis. It was like Elvis walking in the building up there.
Are you serious?
It was crazy.
Were you expecting that?
Not really. I mean, he was a good player in Milwaukee, but nobody knew then that he was going to turn into, an NHL star. But, man, he walked back in that building. That was back in 2014. He had a hip injury. He's out for most of that year, and he went down there for basically a rehab assignment. It was crazy. Like there were people like rushing down to the glass trying to get shake his hand, take a picture, and he was the way he always is. And
took every picture.
He took every picture and kissed babies, all that stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. You talk about guys going down. There was a great article this weekend about Max Scherzer did a rehab assignment somewhere. And when those guys drop down like that, they take the guys, they remodel the clubhouse. And Scherzer bought them all $400 AirPods. They went out for a steak and lobster dinner and all the other stuff. So I could see Packett going back up there and doing something like that, of taking the guys to Outback one night.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when Sammy Sosa did a rehab assignment in Jackson. He came down and did the same thing. He was there for 4 days, 4 games, and spent $50,000 on food and upgrading the club. I mean, all this other stuff. So good. If you got the means to do it, bingo.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Absolutely. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. More of your thoughts coming up on the other side. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
They're still in good shape to make the playoffs.
and I-840,
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
there's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 102.5 The Game.
I go back to that play and I shake my head. What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams.
This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have 2 choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
Whether it's the news, the traffic, the weather, or your COVID-19 vaccinations, it's important to stay up to date. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor Maddich is with us, as always, on a Tuesday. Trev, I think the Longhorns are back with Arch in the fold. Your thoughts?
They're absolutely back. Now they've got to get the players in and get them coached up. But with Arch Manning committing after Quinn Ewers, who was also one of the top quarterbacks, the top quarterback by some services, when he left high school, went to Ohio State, and then came back to Texas for this season. When both of those guys decide they want to come in and play for Steve Sarkisian, it raises eyebrows among other recruits. And when you look at Arch Manning, it's not just Arch that gives the stamp of approval to Texas and to Sarkisian. It is also Archie and Peyton and Eli, the entire Manning family, the first family of football, that has basically said, we trust our treasure to Steve Sarkisian and his staff and the University of Texas. And everybody else looks at that. Parents look at that and say, wow. Because it's really hard to say that this is an NIL deal, because of his status as a recruit and his family name. He's going to get big NIL money no matter where he goes, right? Mm-hmm. And so this, you can legitimately say, was unlikely to have been an NIL choice. And so now you start to look at what are some of the other options. Well, okay, so Steve Sarkisian is a developer of quarterbacks. He developed Jalen Hurts into a starting NFL quarterback. He developed Tua Tagovailoa into a national champion and a starting NFL quarterback. And most surprisingly, he developed Mac Jones.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Summer heat is here. How is your air conditioner holding up? Costs are rising everywhere. Grocery bills, gas bills, utility bills, you name it, up, up, up. Is your AC old, inefficient, and costing more than it should? Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Qualified buyers have up to 72 months. No interest for a new York air conditioner and 6 months no interest for repairs. That's at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. All new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. That's at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. A York certified comfort expert company. Schedule now at springhillac.com.
Listen to Stillman and Company with me, Caroline Fenton, all season long on ESPN 102.5 The Game for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets, courtesy of 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN. Welcome into the DDC.
Stillman and Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Rodeo on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Big Joe Dubin from Main Street, Nashville, and Nick Keys are here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee.
Good to be here, Robbie. Thanks for asking me to come in, pal.
You're going to be here all week.
I will be here all week.
Week's worth of shows with Big Joe Dubin.
And by the way, Rexro just liked a tweet of mine. I'm like, put your phone down, bro. You're on vacation. Stay away. I was looking at this and interesting.
Good to know he's alive.
Yeah, that way he's out there. Sonny Gray's having a heck of a year for the Minnesota Twins. You know that?
I did.
He's having a nice performance this last week. I'm trying to pull up his stats for his last 4 games, but he is Sonny Gray, Smyrna High, went to Vanderbilt. People are like, it's Vandy boy. Man, I remember this guy at Smyrna. That's where we go back with that.
Which people may not know this. I mean, he's in Major League Baseball. Great football player.
Great. 2-time state champion.
Player.
So his last 5 outings, he's 4-1.
Yep.
And we had this conversation earlier of you faced him, and it's always a great conversation. You have this every year about guys that you covered or saw in high school that you knew were going to go not to college and be stars, but go to the pro at whatever level. And you faced Sonny in high school. How'd that go?
Well, he threw about 99 on the radar gun, and we were playing against him, and he finished with like 21 strikeouts or something. Like it was something absurd. But you tried to do your best to just make contact with the ball. I had a foul tip against him. That was as good as I ever did against Sonny Gray.
Nice.
But I like, when I say 99, I mean that was nobody was juicing up the radar gun. He was pumping that thing in there,
right?
99 miles an hour.
So you knew at some time he was going to go.
He was. I mean, we knew he was going to be a first-round draft pick coming out of high school, and it was funny. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was that spring of his senior year. We played against him in Hendersonville, and my friend stepped on his foot as he was covering the bag at first and broke his foot, and he slid in the draft, I think, a little bit that. And
then the Cubs took him in 08.
Yeah.
And then he had made it pretty evident he was going to go to Vanderbilt and do all that stuff.
Right.
So there's a kind of an urban legend that somebody went and covered. All these schools show up for a Sonny Gray game, like Trevecca, Lipscomb, Vanderbilt. I mean, all the schools around there. And after 3 pitches, I don't remember what school it was, packed up his radar gun, and they said, "Hey, where are you going?" He's like, "This dude ain't coming to." It was like Trevecca.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's not coming.
I'm not wasting my time here. He's not coming to this school here. But you knew that. And so my thing, we talked about this earlier. Golden Tate in high school.
Yep.
You're just like, you see good players in high school. You're like, it's not bad. But you knew that guy was next level. When he had the 3, and if I'm wrong, somebody could text in and tell me, but he had scored 3 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes against Ryan one year and beat him and came at a punt return, pass, a sweep, or something. And he scored 3 touchdowns in the last couple minutes of the game, and they won the game. And that's next level, man. You don't see that stuff that happens right there. That's just unbelievable. Then you also played against Mookie Betts.
Which, by the way, that guy was a freak athlete at everything. People don't know he's an unbelievable bowler. He's bowled several 300 games. Basketball player.
See, I remember Mookie as a basketball player at Overton.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this guy is fantastic. And next thing you know, he's with the Red Sox, just killing it.
Oh yeah, we played against him in baseball, and he could mash, but it was also he'd hit a ground ball to shortstop, and all of a sudden you turn around, and he's just standing at first base just before you even get the ball. You're like, oh, you're already over there, huh? How about that?
That's nice.
You knew that guy was unbelievable. I mean, John Jenkins at Station Camp, who ended up playing at Vanderbilt, and he played a little bit in the NBA. He was really, really good too. There's a lot of, when you think about it, there's a lot of talent around here.
Well, it's happened in the last 20 years. It was not around when I was in high school. But I mean, it's around. There was a lot of good players, but nothing to this level. And now you see in the last 20 years, I mean, David Price, Sonny Gray. I'm not talking guys that just came out of state that went to Vanderbilt, whatever, but guys that grew up here that played sport. I remember Derek Barnett watching him at Brentwood Academy. Like, this guy's got this burst, and then he goes to UT and does it now. He's entering, I think, his 6th year with the Eagles. And you see guys like that. Of course, Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's a guy that when he went to Florida and that's the rumor was that in 2012, his senior year, Dooley sent like a grad assistant over to Brentwood Academy. That's the rumor to talk. And then it was like, man, what are you doing, Dooley? Come on. And then he goes to Florida State. Does the 3 years at Florida State, and now he's a big star in the NFL. But those are guys that you knew from our area that, like, look, I know that guy is going to get to the next level and be simply fantastic. And it's all proven out with all these guys. Price, Gray, everybody that's going down the line that we've noticed and talked about, Mookie Betts. And, I mean, look what Mookie is making. I mean, it's all these guys. Good for them. They all grew up here and then all gave their all for their high schools. But, yeah, it was a really cool thing to watch these guys grow up here.
He's got Mookie Betts he signed a $365 million extension.
I think, was he not committed or not? It was Tennessee, I think, was going to go play baseball at Tennessee. I think that was
can't
right.
remember.
And then so he went out and got a nice little paycheck to go, and the Red Sox drafted
him. He was
him.
a Tennessee signee.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, man.
And then made his way up. So not good for these guys. I mean, I think Sonny's got like a 3-year, $30 million deal that he signed with the Reds. When he got traded to the Twins, they picked that obviously as well, the price of that massive deal. So it's funny, 2018, I went up and covered the Patriots and the Titans Super Bowl, Super Bowl playoff game, the year that the Patriots went to the Super Bowl, got beat by the Eagles. But I did we stopped by and did a radio show with Scott Zolak. You know, I mean, that guy is crazy, great radio show. And we were talking, and I said, hey, man, this is 2018. I said, you've been here a long time. Who's the most player that you can't – any sport? And they were quick, David Price. Because remember, he got in that battle, Dennis Eckersley on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't talk to him afterwards when they were in the World Series that next year.
Yeah.
And then, like, how did that kind of narrative change with Price up in Boston? But at the moment, they could not stand David Price because he got into it on the airplane with – I guess Eckersley said he wasn't playing well or doing something, and then – but I love watching drama when I'm not involved, and that would have been with Price and Dennis Eckersley right there.
So, who was the best athlete that you saw or played against in your playing days?
It's who I saw was Golden Tate. I think there was no doubt about how amazing he was. How just he was night and day. It was like a man playing with boys. He was that good, that unbelievable. And I go back for those who remember. I mean, another player that I saw in high school that they couldn't stop was Eric Locke. Ended up going to Alabama and Tennessee, and his path was not that good. He should have stayed in one school. But Eric Locke went to Riverdale High School. I mean, that guy couldn't stop him. It was unbelievable. But Golden Tate's the one where I look back now and I see, and I remember when he got drafted by the Seahawks in 2010, I met him at Eddie George's restaurant draft night because the Titans had traded that day to move up, and then the rumors they were going to take him, and they didn't. So I remember talking to him down there, and he was just, I guess I'm going to be a Seahawk now for a few years. And he goes there and he wins a Super Bowl in 2013, and then goes to the Lions, Eagles, and now he's playing baseball. I think he signed a minor league contract to play baseball. But, I mean, those guys are rarity. They come around once in a lifetime, and they just know that they're going to be something special.
Hit up our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Who is the best athlete that you saw at the high school level? 615-737-1025. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into the DDC.
Starting company is delivered. There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Heat advisories going into effect by the end of the morning, with heat index values climbing up to 105 to 110 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Invite you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey, Willie Daunic here. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? Those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month, and inflation is making everything else more expensive. Your home can save you right now. Your home value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it that you can access with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. You can get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off those 23% rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut $800 or more from their monthly budget. If your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto now and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
If you missed the latest from Stillman & Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously, I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman & Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman & Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road.
On ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Dubin, Nick Keys are here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line and welcome in Peyton, who wants to weigh in. Peyton, thanks for calling into Robbie and Rex Road.
Thanks for having me. Happy Tuesday.
You too.
Yeah, so I think I can speak for most people that have played baseball in the last 10 years in Montgomery County, that the best baseball player, one of the best, has to be one of the best in mid-state history, was Donnie Everett, and it's not really even close. Just to tell a quick story, we would be the visiting team, and we'd play them 2 or 3 times a year, and we'd be on the opposite foul line warming up, and we would all turn our heads and look over and watch him just throw the ball to warm up. You know, he would stay stationary, not move his feet at all. And he would just skip the ball all the way to his catcher that he'd be throwing to. He'd be at obviously Donnie would be on the foul line, and the catcher would be all the way at the center field wall, and he would just skip it. He'd throw it about 6 foot in front of him.
Jeez.
And just skip it like a rock on the river. And we just watch it bounce all the way, probably still going about 95 miles an hour on the ground. And we would all just shake our heads and be like, this guy is just something else. So, and obviously, everybody knows just the best person in the world. This is coming from someone wasn't really close with him, but a lot of mutual friends, and whenever that news broke a couple summers ago, it affected so many people in Clarksville, and just the best guy, comes from the best family, and a lot of people can back that up. So yeah, I think Donnie Everett got to go down as one of the best baseball players this state's ever seen.
Wasn't the one of the pitchers, and I hate bringing this, one of the last pictures of him was at the SEC tournament when the pitch, the miles per hour was like 101 behind him. I mean, it was just straight, pure fastball. And just God, my heart still breaks for his family, for Corbin and that team. And that was just an awful, awful thing.
Right. Yeah. And one time in high school, you always try to be tough. He said, oh, the ball hits you. Oh, that didn't hurt. That guy hit me in the elbow one time, and he was the best pitcher I've ever played against, and that hurt. And that is a fact. I can't even argue with that, no doubt.
No question about it. Peyton, thanks for the call. Great call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good one. Obviously I didn't play against Donnie Everett, but I remember, just in circles around high school baseball, people talking about him. And, obviously a tragic situation there with the drowning accident back in the summer of 2016. It's hard to believe it's been that long.
And it was the same. Was it the same day of the Blue Angels crash? I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
So just an awful time for him. But I just even seen his family because in 2019 when Vanderbilt won the national championship, his family was there either in the dugout or they were on the field afterwards. And so it's just awful, man. And that's the thing about sports is covering things like that. You just hate doing that, and it's hard to wrap your mind around. I mean, you go back 6 years and it's very fluid that you remember that moment and you hear everything that happened, and it's just terrible because of what could have been. And that's the worst thing. What could have been had he lived, man.
Josh from Murfreesboro on the text line says, best athlete I've ever seen in high school is Ty Chandler. I covered NBA, BA his senior year at NBA, and he had 400-something yards and 2 more 50-plus yard runs called back due to holding. Incredible performance. BA also had a Hail Mary at halftime buzzer that I believe Cam Johnson caught from Jeremiah Oatsville. Great players in their own right. But Ty Chandler, the vote from Josh from Murfreesboro.
Yeah, did he get drafted? I think he went to North Carolina for his COVID senior year, then someplace after that. But he was a heck
Vikings.
of a Vikings. All right, there you go. That's good. I mean, Ty Chandler was good. We talk about what stands out. You can remember these guys like the pitcher, the quarterback, the running back, the receiver that stands out. But then you get a big lineman like, with Derek Barnett and what he's doing in the NFL and things like that kind of get overshadowed a little bit. But Ty Chandler was a heck of a running back in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then ended up going to UT with old Butch.
Oh, yeah.
In that 2017 year. It's like, oh, man, what is going on here? But, yeah, Ty Chandler's really good.
Let's go back to the 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark from the Borough. Mark, thanks for calling into Robbie and Rex Road.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Hey, I grew up in Houston. In high school, we played against Adam Dunn. Y'all remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Big leaguer.
Giant human being.
I mean, that dude, I played first base, when he came up to bat, he looked 7 foot tall. I was just praying he wouldn't kill me. Luckily, he only hit him 400 foot over the fence. But that guy, you see that guy, you realize, okay, he's playing a different game. It was kind of amazing just to watch him. So,
man, if he smoked one down the line, you'd be in trouble there.
I was doing the shift before it was cool. I was back in short right field. I'm like, just don't hit one down the line,
right,
man.
That's right.
Well, I'm proud of your coach for not, all the times. I hate seeing this when they pitch around these guys and just put them on base. Don't go at them. Let your guy go at this guy. If he hits an 800-foot home run, who cares? But if your guy strikes him out, awesome.
Throw it down the middle, see what he can do.
That's right. Mark, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I mean, that'd be something to see somebody like, because you watch guys that hit home runs like in high school level, and you could tell, like, good Lord. They had a rocket shot that goes someplace else. There's a kid, I just looked him up, Robert Hassel. I maybe heard he's in the he might be the top prospect in baseball with Independence High School. He's from Franklin, and he's in the Padres organization. They talk about this guy could be the next. Committed to Vanderbilt, got drafted by the Padres, a $2 million deal. I saw him play in the state tournament a couple years ago, and they walked him every time.
Oh, yeah.
So then they had a runner on second later in the game. He'd walked 3 times, and they decided to pitch to him, and then he tattooed one over the fence. I was like, okay, now I know why you're walking this guy.
Makes a little bit more sense.
First pitch, and it was gone. So remember the name Robert Hassel from Independence High School. The guy's good, man. Really good.
John on the text line says, I was in middle school, but my local high school played a game against LeBron, and it was something else.
Ooh.
You imagine LeBron James in high school?
Oh, my goodness. You seen that when he plays? They show the McDonald's game every year from 2003. And it's like, who's the NBA player playing with these kids out there? And it's LeBron. It's like, my goodness, like that. That's the thing. Is high school basketball around here, it doesn't get enough credit as it should because it hasn't produced that many big stars. Darius Garland's doing now, and of course John Jenkins. But we've had some nice basketball players come through here that not necessarily made it to the NBA level, but have done pretty well.
Kevin on the text line says, I played with Garrison Matthews, speaking of high school basketball, in high school, and saw Theo Jackson, Ty Chandler, and Master Teague as well from Kevin.
Yeah.
On the text line. Oh, yeah.
Nice. I remember covering a Garrison Matthews game at Lipscomb. He had missed like 3 3-pointers, and they came down the court again, and they had a timeout, and he was talking to the players, and he wouldn't really – Casey Alexander was in the huddle, of course, time Lipscomb coach. But I remember watching Matthews, like, how is he going to come back? He's missed 3 3-pointers in a row, comes down again, nails it. I'm like, you want a guy on your team who hates losing more than he enjoys winning.
Yep.
And Garrison Matthews is that guy, like, give this guy a chance. He could be something. And, of course, now he's with the Rockets and signed a nice little deal.
Andrew from Dover on the text line says, I played against Wayne Chisholm in high school basketball when he played for Bolivar Central. I don't even
Good
know
luck
if I'm
with
saying
that
that
one.
school right, but yeah.
Wayne Chisholm.
Go guard Wayne Chisholm.
Was that? All I remember Wayne Chisholm was gigantic, had that headband.
Oh, yeah.
And that run they made in 2000.
He wore the headband on like the top of his head. Not his
right. Because that run they made in 2010 to the Elite Eight with Bruce Pearl, that's a fantastic basketball team. That J.P. Prince was on that team, I think, and of course with Chisholm, that was a heck of a thing. But yeah, just a massive guy in high school, man.
Ron on the text line says, growing up in Columbus, Ohio, as a kid, I got to see Archie Griffin and Jim Clemens play football and basketball, respectively.
See, I'd have loved to see Archie Griffin in high school. I mean, then he goes and 2-time Heisman Trophy winner in 74 and 75 for Ohio State. That'd have been good to see something like that, man.
I got to vote for Corn Elder on the text line, too.
Corn was good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Corn was good. At Innsworth, right? And went to Miami, and then he was with the Panthers for a while.
He's now with – I think he's still with Washington, but, yeah, he was with the Panthers for a while.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that just didn't happen. I mean, 20 years ago, you were not seeing these kind of athletes from high school go on to the next level, and now you're seeing it all the time with these guys who are getting drafted and making their way. And I'm sure I'm leaving 1 or 2 out of my mind right now that have made it all the way.
Well, I remember, Jalen Hurd, really good at Beach. Obviously ended up at Tennessee. All that stuff that went on with that. I mean, he was a great player, though, at Beach.
380 yards and 6 touchdowns in a state championship game.
Pretty good.
Just, that guy, right? It's a shame injury stopped him.
Yeah.
I think he had a couple of knee surgeries and all that, but, man, you couldn't stop him in high school.
Well, I've thought about this before, like Derrick Henry in high school down in Yulee, Florida.
I mean, God.
Can you imagine being like a normal kid trying to tackle that guy?
And the rumor is that Muschamp at Florida went to him and said, "Hey, we want you at linebacker."
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so, man.
And then Saban's like, "Yeah," and that's the good about Saban's like, "Yeah, come, we'll try you out, see how it goes." And then it's not necessarily a no when you look there and Muschamp's like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you at linebacker, get you on defense." And then Derek Henry's like, "Nah, we'll try him out at running back," and then takes off. But yeah, I mean that's a man versus boys kind of thing, like watching LeBron play basketball.
So this was his final total in high school. He had 12,124 rushing yards, 150 touchdowns. His final stats.
That's
in high
amazing.
School. It's amazing.
Unbelievable. To why I'd like to have seen.
He averaged 8.7 a carry.
Was
Which
that
is kind of amazing.
Was that defenders or yards?
I don't know. That's the thing.
I'm not sure with that. I would love to have seen Herschel Walker in high school.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson in high school, to see those guys. I mean, that's the thing. I think
327 yards a game.
Oh gosh. I think Bear Bryant, if I remember correctly, Bear wanted Bo to play linebacker at Alabama. He's like, "Oh, I'll play running back."
Yeah.
And now it's more like, "Yeah, we'll come and you'll do that." I think Saban's done a great job with telling guys, "Come on, we'll try that out and see what happens. If not, we'll figure out a place for you." And so, but imagine Derrick Henry going to Florida and play linebacker and all that you'd admit. I mean, that guy, it's unbelievable what's happening.
Yeah. Kevin in Nashville says Corey Brewer was pretty good out of Portland. Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
National champion with the Gators.
Double.
Yeah, double.
Two-time. But a nice career
Long
in the NBA,
NBA
as
career.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was really weird because I remember the time when he signed with Portland, with Florida out of high school. You're like, why is he going to Florida? What's going on down there? Billy Donovan had been there for a while, and they'd been to a national championship in 2000, and then Corey Brewer. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a great one to see what he's done. And now I think he might be in player development somewhere with one of the teams, but nice. I love the fact Corey Brewer, I don't know if he still does or not, has a basketball camp in Portland. It's free. He feeds the kids, gives them T-shirts, takes care of them either a day or two when he doesn't have to do that. So it's really cool that he does that.
I got a text that says, growing up in Indiana where basketball is king, I got the opportunity to be on the team that played against Sean Kemp. Oh, boy. trying to guard Sean Kemp in high
Guy's
school.
a monster. My goodness. How do you defend somebody like that in high school?
You don't.
Who's
probably
6'9", 6'10"? Triple team him?
Foul him every
Give
time
him his
before he gets
way?
the ball. Yeah.
Step on his foot like you did with Sonny Gray. You injured Sonny Gray.
Got a lot of votes for Golden Tate on the text line.
Yeah.
Including in baseball. Everybody talks about football, but baseball with Golden Tate.
He was amazing. Just amazing. Why? I mean, every time he's on the few players in high school, when there was a punt and he was about to return it, you would stand up. He's like, where's he going to go? What's going to happen here?
Zach in Hendersonville voting for Jawan Jennings in high school.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I remember Jawan, it was in the state championship basketball when he had the dunk.
Yeah.
He took off from like half court line and dunked the ball and went down. I mean, those guys are next level. So it's good to see Jawan making the way with, I think he's got a football camp coming up maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
So to see Jawan Jennings, like I love seeing these local guys on the big stage, and Jawan had a great year with the 49ers.
We'll continue to take your thoughts all show long. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get Big Joe's thoughts on the Titans with training camp just a few weeks away.
Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park as well. You're going to want to hear his thoughts on that. No question about it. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Duchesne scores! Titans touchdown!
We live the game.
Because if he did come back, how long would he play?
Really good after the catch. He can get open.
We are
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
The leading receiver.
Awesome
in game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you looking to take ownership in a position that will support your growth and development? We are an excavation and site utilities contractor. Several things set us apart from our competition, but we take the most pride in the professional development of our people. We have multiple openings for operators, pipe layers, and laborers. Our pay and benefits are second to none, including our 401k program. Apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC. Build people, move dirt.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
And I know a lot of you all don't believe a lot of the things that I say, or a lot of you don't agree with my opinions. This is the reporter hat that is on right now. So that everybody, they are not, what I was told was the Cervali report is not true. Trade protection with Forsberg is not an issue right now. And previously, I had told you all that I had 100% confidence that the Predators and Philip Forsberg were going to get a deal done. Now, this is where I'm kind of morphing back into kind of the opinion side here. After what I heard today, I would change my prediction from 100% to 101%. It's going to get done.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
The leading receiver. Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
a Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rex Road. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Welcome back in. Final hour of Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Big Joe Dubin from Main Street, Nashville. Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. You're an athlete.
The votes are rolling in, right?
Votes are rolling in. There's a whole lot for Brandon Wright, too, who we did not mention.
Forgot about him.
We always going to forget somebody.
That's good, though. You forget about these guys that have gone on and done great, and you get reminded about how good they were. So it's always cool to hear that. But, Brandon Wright would spent 1 year, I think, at Carolina from Brentwood Academy and a nice career in the NBA and made a little money. Good for him.
So you've seen Jurassic World over the weekend?
Let me tell you what. I'm going to save you guys some money right now, all right? Let me tell you, the worst movie I've ever seen in a theater that I walked out of was 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis.
Okay.
It's the worst movie ever made. Nothing comes close in my mind. It was just an awful movie, 12 Monkeys. That's why I've always hated Brad Pitt. I actually wrote a letter, I'm not kidding you not, in 1995 to Bruce Willis demanding $21 back. True story. Because I had a book of agents back. The internet was not around.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a book where agents had clients, and I found Bruce Willis's publicist. And I said, I want $21. My brother, my mother, and I went and saw this movie. It's awful. I want my money back. And Brad Pitt's in that. Brad Pitt's the worst actor of all time. And I wanted my money back. So I go last week with my son to see Jurassic Park, Dominion, whatever. I can't believe, and I know people are like, oh, it's made $1 billion. That's great. But it's awful. It's an awful movie. The redhead girl, Ron Howard's daughter, I don't even know her name. She can't act. She overreacts to everything. Chris Pratt's not very good in this. And they brought the original three back of Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and I love Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum was the only redeeming factor about this movie. It was awful. The dinosaurs were awful. It always ends the same way. They'll be protected in this sanctuary forever until the studio's like, we need to make another $1 billion. How can we get the dinosaurs out of this?
Yeah.
And it was just a weird, awful, terrible movie. So I want my money back.
Well, the original Jurassic World, so not the three Jurassic Park movies, but the original Jurassic World with Chris Pratt that came out, I don't know, at this point, 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a pretty good movie.
Yep.
And then the sequel sucked. And I saw this latest Jurassic World a couple weeks ago.
Right.
It is trash, man. It's not good.
It's terrible. And it got loud. I mean, the dinosaurs fighting each other, and then just when you think they're going to eat and so halfway through the movie, it got so bad, every time somebody got eaten, I would laugh. It would just make me, because it'd be random people running around, and dinosaurs would eat this guy. And I would just laugh. It just made me, and so other people around me started laughing too, and it became just kind of a joke. And the last 30 minutes of Jurassic Park felt like it took 6 months. It would not end, right? It would not end. This has got to end somehow, some way. Do not go see this movie. And again, I get it. It's if you make money and all that other stuff, I find. But at some point, so it is taking over. It's tied with 12 Monkeys for the worst movie of all time. RoboCop 2, I walked out of that movie as well. Home Alone 2, I walked out of that one. Awful.
You walked out of Home Alone 2?
Awful.
Really?
Awful movie. Got out of there. Not a fan of the original Home Alone either, but that's different.
You want a real spicy hot take from me?
Yeah.
Home Alone 3, which nobody's ever heard of and or talks about, is better than Home Alone 1 and 2.
Is it really?
Take it to the bank.
Who's
totally different actor, but I don't know the kid's name.
Where'd the family go?
They're in Chicago, and they're basically at work, and it's like these 4 burglars are coming in looking for a chip of a toy car. It's great.
Is it really?
I may be the only human on the earth that likes the movie.
Were you flipping channels one night?
Oh, I grew up watching that movie. Yeah,
Home
I
Alone
watched
3?
it probably 300 times.
I got to check that out now. Yeah, that's just okay. Well, that makes me feel better now because Home Alone 2 was so bad. And then again, 12 Monkeys if you ever see 12 Monkeys, it's a Bruce Willis futuristic movie. Brad Pitt, awful.
Yeah.
Interview with the Vampire, pretty bad.
Yeah.
With Cruise, and I'm a big Tom Cruise fan, but that's pretty bad.
John on the text line says they'll keep making terrible movies as long as people are willing to pay to see it.
You're right. He's exact. That's sum it up that way. I looked during the movie. So if you go to the IMDb app, which is fantastic because it's got like where the films were made, what kind of camera did they use, the box office budget, and it's already made like $800 million. And I get it. That's fine. But Chris Pratt, if you're listening and you go to the bank to check your account, just know that look yourself in the mirror, man, because that's
You're a fraud, Chris Pratt.
For this movie, it was not very good. You're bad. So people will go see it. And again, and I got thoughts about Top Gun, too. Have you seen Top Gun?
Oh, yeah.
The last, I don't want to rip for people, but to me, the last 15, 20 minutes, a little cheesy there, right?
It sounds like you're a little harsh on the movies.
No, I just want to be entertained.
Okay.
I enjoyed Elvis until somebody ruined it for me and told me he died at the end. I'm like, come on, let me enjoy the movie. Don't tell me what happens. But I've seen some scathing remarks about Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom Parker. People like, I thought he was okay.
Yeah.
You know, an actor is, to me, a good acting role and an acting job is if you forget who that person is and you get immersed in the character.
They've done their job.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, it's still his voice, but I thought Tom Hanks did a decent job as Colonel Tom. I thought the guy playing Elvis was fantastic, although I was sad they did not call me for the fat Elvis part because I could have done a really good job that last year or two when Elvis was around. And, of course, they totally skipped. Can I tell you a quick Elvis story?
Yes.
All right. So years ago, we were doing this travel around Tennessee story, and one of the places we were doing was Graceland, right? You'll love this story. So we go down there, and the first thing the media person tells me, and it's me, a camera guy, and a producer, and she says, no matter what you do, if you imitate Elvis on this tour or inside we're watching, we will cancel you immediately. And I said, excuse me? She's like, if you go and you imitate Elvis, you're done. She said, 2 nights ago, we threw the BBC out of the jungle room because they would not stop doing impersonations of Elvis.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, okay. So they took us on a tour, and she's up front, our producer's up front, me and the camera guy are behind. So Elvis has a racquetball court, right?
Okay.
And it's filled with nothing but his awards. It's amazing, right? So I forget our little talk, right, with the lady, the true story. And I'm like, and I'm talking about, I said, David, that's the award I won years ago. And so I couldn't shut up, right? And all of a sudden I hear this, hey! And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God. She said, what did you say? And I said, oh, I play racquetball back home. I thought this cool. She's like, I heard you imitating Elvis. And I said, no. And my friend with me is like, no, we were just talking about, you know, good use of a court, putting all these awards in. And I was scared to death. And she said, you've been warned.
Good gracious.
I'm like, oh, my Lord. You know, and so they frown heavily on if you do an Elvis impression at Graceland and you're with the Graceland people. So I was like, man. So we walk back in the house and you look upstairs, you know, he passed away in the bathroom. My friend's like, just don't start.
Just don't even approach it, man.
Just go outside, get away from it. I had to leave inside of Graceland to go outside so we would not get kicked out for this. It was
crazy.
Things, yeah. But they kicked the BBC out. Because they were in the jungle room, which you don't get allowed to go into, because they wouldn't stop and doing impressions of Elvis. So it's just one of those things, but I'll never, ever forget doing that. Every time I see Elvis and went to the movie, I was like, man, I remember when I almost got thrown out of Graceland for imitating Elvis on the racquetball court with all these awards. It was a simple, like, hey, man, that was one of those things. I got my racquetball. And then she's like, what'd you say? I was like, oh, my gosh. I got to get out of here. Good talk. Good times.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll get Big Joe's thoughts on the Titans coming up next. Got some tickets to give away, too, on the other side as well. All that ahead. This is Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and Newton Motor Group this summer to help kids in Middle Tennessee. We're teaming up with Souls for Souls to provide shoes to children experiencing homelessness in Nashville and the surrounding area for back to school. Our goal is to raise $20,000, which will provide 1,000 pairs of shoes for kids. To help, go to thegamenashville.com/shoes. Let's do some good this summer. Newton Motor Group is a proud sponsor of Souls for Music City. Newton Motor Group, the best car deals in Nashville. Start at Newton. Visit thegamenashville.com/shoes.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Hiller's Home of the Free is back with more free giveaways than ever. This month, get a free programmable thermostat with select new HVAC systems. Get a free home surge protector with a whole home generator. Or enjoy a free water sensor leak detector with any tankless water heater. Better yet, we'll include interest-free financing and a free Happy Hiller Club membership with these purchases. Celebrate the Home of the Free with us at happyhiller.com.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
If you missed the latest from Stillman & Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor Maddich is with us, as always, on a Tuesday. Trev, I think the Longhorns are back with Arch in the fold. Your thoughts?
They're absolutely back. Now, they've got to get the players in and get them coached up. But with Arch Manning committing after Quinn Ewers, who, was also one of the top quarterbacks, the top quarterback by some services, when he left high school, went to Ohio State, and then came back to Texas for this season. When both of those guys decide they want to come in and play for Steve Sarkisian, it raises eyebrows among other recruits. And, when you look at Arch Manning, it's not just Arch that gives the stamp of approval to Texas and to Sarkisian. It is also Archie and Peyton and Eli, the entire Manning family, the first family of football, that has basically said, we trust our treasure to Steve Sarkisian and his staff and the University of Texas. And everybody else looks at that. Parents look at that and say, wow. Because it's really hard to say that this is an NIL deal because of his status as a recruit and his family name. He's going to get big NIL money no matter where he goes, right? Mm-hmm. And so this, you can legitimately say, was unlikely to have been an NIL choice. And so now you start to look at what are some of the other options. Well, okay, so Steve Sarkisian is a developer of quarterbacks. He developed Jalen Hurts into a starting NFL quarterback. He developed Tua Tagovailoa into a national champion and a starting NFL quarterback. And most surprisingly, he developed Mac Jones.
Tune in Stillman & Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I got some tickets to give away to see Styx and REO Speedwagon. Coming up at also with Loverboy at the Cinda Amphitheater on Monday, August 8th. Big caller number 3 at 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see Styx and REO Speedwagon with Loverboy coming up at the Cinda Amphitheater on Monday, August 8th. 615-737-1025.
I'm being told that Tim Corbin's a big REO Speedwagon fan.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm being told that right now.
All right.
By the way, if you go see Styx, they will not play Mr. Roboto, which drives me crazy. Because that was from Dennis DeYoung, the old singer, and they all hate him, so they hated.
I saw Styx play Mr. Roboto one time.
After
a Milwaukee Admirals game.
Did they?
Like 4 years ago.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, they won't play it anywhere.
That place was going nuts.
They won't play. You should see the behind the music about when Styx dissolved. They're playing a big rock festival down in the Cotton Bowl. And I think Ted Nugent just went. People are rocking, and then they come out with Mr. Roboto, and they have like a 5-minute setup of like, what's the world coming to? And some guy trolling around like Wizard of Oz, and people are booing him and getting mad at him. And they're like, we're done with that. And then when Dennis DeYoung left Styx, they didn't play it anymore. So good that you guys said Mr. Roboto. It's a great song. Good conversation topic there. Miss songs you want to. I remember one year somebody said Tommy Two-Tone played the rhyme. And I don't know if this is a lie or not. I don't know. But he played every song but 8675309. Can you imagine
showing up to that and him not playing that song?
Going to see Tommy Two-Tone at the Ryman, and he doesn't play 8675309. Somebody said the Black Crowes did the same thing, one of their big songs.
Ugh.
And said they didn't play it, and the guy Chris Robinson's like, I don't want to play it. I mean, doing that to your fans.
Yeah, it's not
I'd
good.
be livid.
I would be too.
I'd go to Twitter and get mad.
Yeah,
at it.
that's right. Some Twitter fights. So, Joe, we're a few weeks out now from Titans training camp being underway. Number 1 seed last year in the AFC. Disappointing loss, to put it lightly, in the first round against the Bengals. There have been some changes this offseason. You got Malik Willis coming in at quarterback. You know, Derrick Henry's another year older, coming off an injury. Roger Saffold's out the door. A.J. Brown obviously is gone at this point. So how do you, Joe Dubin, view this Titans team heading into training camp this year with the job that Mike Vrabel has done and the opportunity that now sits in front of them?
I cannot wait for the Jared Stillman meltdown when Traylon Burks doesn't make it through the first week of training camp. To me, that's going to be the main thing. Now, you know, you hear that with A.J. Brown. They got, you know, A.J. Brown left. The story I'm hearing was that had A.J. not had stayed here, this is going to be a problem up until game 1, right? And John Robinson, they didn't want this distraction. Now, I'm not speaking for them, but I'm thinking, I don't want that distraction. He's gone. Now you got Burks, and you can imagine, you know, after seeing Burks at the first training camp go out there and not make it through, that John Robinson's thinking, oh, my good Lord, what's happening now? Traylon Burks doesn't make it to the first week or two of training camp. That's going to be all the talk.
Yeah.
That's going to drive Vrabel crazy. It's going to drive everybody crazy. I am not excited. That's what I'm most interested in seeing. Look, we know the positions are already plugged in and everything, and with Tannehill and Derrick Henry, there's probably 4 or 5 spots that are still left up for grabs, and I get all that. But this Burks thing that's coming in, because if he doesn't come in shape and doesn't make it to the first couple of camps, that's going to be a nightmare for them, an absolute nightmare. And I don't think you can't put your PR team out there to spin any other way in the fact that he's not shape, and you got a first-round draft choice. In Robinson's first-round draft, who's the last first-rounder on this team he's drafted? You know?
The last first round to get a second contract, or
who's on this team currently? Who's the last first rounder?
Goodness. I don't think there is one.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got 16 Conklin's gone.
But
17,
he's the only one.
Yeah. 17 Corey Davis, and who's the guy that went to the Giants from USC?
Adoree Jackson.
Adoree Jackson, yeah. Gone. 18, Rashad Evans is gone. So these first-round picks is now not Isaiah Wilson. I mean, what's he doing? I mean, I think I saw him at MAPCO last night. He's not playing anymore. Who was the guy last year with the back problem?
Caleb Farley.
Yeah, what's he doing now, right?
Yeah.
I think he was my DoorDash driver. So I haven't seen him. So there's these number one picks. It's become a problem now. So, you know, John Robinson's praying like, this guy's got to be on the field, and there's no excuse why he should not be in shape. I watched him in Arkansas. He's a hell of a receiver.
Good player. Big
dude, down the field, doing it against the best in college football in the SEC. So the talent is there, but what's going to happen the first 2 weeks of camp? Because Stillman's going to be non-stop.
Oh, yeah.
If Burks comes there out of shape and doesn't make it. That's what I'm looking forward to.
No, it's going to be – I think that's probably the number one storyline in camp. I mean, we could talk about you know, John Glennon talked earlier about the offensive line. The thing about judging the offensive line at this point is nobody's put on pads yet. So it's really difficult to judge exactly where you are on the offensive line when you can't hit. That's what the offensive line is.
So I don't know. I mean, so you got Ben Jones, you got Taylor Lewan, you got Nate Davis.
Yep.
And who are the other two?
That's the question.
Yeah.
You got, Dylan Radence, I guess, has the inside track at right tackle. Maybe Aaron Brewer or Jamarco Jones at left guard. But, I mean, I think it's pretty clear those 2 spots and then the mess currently at wide receiver. I mean, that's all. Those are the positions that people are going to be looking at in training camp.
That's exactly right. I think the tight end thing's been pretty good with this big guy out of Maryland who's turning heads.
Yep.
But again, the front 4 of that defensive line can wreak just the front 4, not bringing an outside linebacker, just that front 4. If they can wreak havoc, this football team could go a long way because then you've disrupted the other team's offense. They can't do anything. You just give the ball to Derrick Henry, let him pound it in there. Maybe Tannehill has come back and has a nice year, and then you move in games. But we go back to the 07-08 team with the defensive line of Tony Brown and Vanden Bosch and Hainsworth. I know 08 Curse came back for that 1 year, but you look at what those guys did, and that's why the Cortland Finnegans on the back end and the Nick Harper back then had such great years, and Michael Griffin, because the quarterback would drop back, he would be sacked within like 3 seconds. So you're not holding the guy for 8 to 10 seconds down the field. If that front 4 of the Titans could come out and dominate again, this could be a really good football team.
Yeah. Well, the defense, I mean, you start to look around like at linebacker with Cunningham and David Long Jr. I mean, you're feeling pretty good about that. Really, the one question mark to me on defense is at corner. You've got Fulton that you feel good about. Elijah Molden in year 2 in the slot. Caleb Farley. We have no clue what he is at this point because he's hurt all last year. So that's the one spot on the defensive side of the ball that I don't feel pretty good about heading into the year. But you're right. Like, to me, you built your pass rush up last year to a certain level where by the end of the season, it was the most dominant part of your team.
Oh,
now,
yes.
Derrick Henry was hurt, and I understand all that. But by the end of the year, your pass rush was the strength of your team. And that's what today's NFL is. It's about the quarterback, and it's about getting to the quarterback on the other side of the ball. And if you could do that, you're going to give yourself a shot if you're the Titans.
9 sacks on Burrow. Is that right? Yeah. I mean, and that, I know
still kind of incredible.
I know the Bengals' offensive line wasn't that great, but that's 9 sacks, man. You're getting to the quarterback. So, again, I see a lot of similarities to the 07 team with that front four, and then get it in. That way you free up your linebackers and your secondary to go out and do their job. And that way you're not have to blitz. You can just put those guys in there and get it done. What did you make of Dean Pease' comment about basically, I can't believe the Titans let Rashaan Evans go?
Yeah.
Well, that's something.
Well, I mean, I guess I get it from the standpoint of the last time that he saw and worked with with Rashaan Evans was about the time in his career where you thought, like, okay, Rashaan Evans is about to take that next step. It was the end of 19. He had a good year. He was good in the playoff run for the Titans, and Dean Pease was a part of that. So, I mean, you can see his physical ability.
Right.
But if you've watched Rashaan Evans play the last couple of years, I mean, he was not very good in 2020, and by the time the playoff game came around last year, he's a healthy scratch. He had Jayon Brown in front of him, he had Cunningham and had David Long. So the not believing they let him go thing, I'm like, well, go look at their linebacking room. That's why they let him go.
Yeah.
They got guys that are a lot better than he is.
It was like a subtle shot at Robinson and Vrabel, and I believe there's a bit of not friendly tones between those guys, and I'd love to see why and what happened, what went on.
Yeah,
just to see what that was.
I also wonder for him, like, that Falcons defense is not going to be good this year.
Yeah,
like if you're Dean Pease, you've already retired twice. Like, why do you want to keep doing this for a team that has no chance to win?
Yeah, exactly right. By the way, I wish the Falcons would go back to the all red uniforms. Not a fan.
They're doing it, I think, at least once this year.
They should.
Yeah.
The Patriots are going back to their old style uniforms. And this is also, you talk about uniforms and all that. I'm not a fan if the Titans go back to the Oiler look.
Really? I'd love to see it. Maybe for one game.
I don't know if they do it or not. I mean, I like the Hall of Fame game in 2009. That looked good with the old Astros, old Oilers look. But I don't know. I just different cities, different everything.
I would go and do it for no other reason than to just troll the Houston Texans. Yeah, their fans keep whining about it so much. I would just say, you know what? Let's go wear that jersey one time, and let's do it against Houston. Let's wear the Houston Oilers jerseys against the Texans. I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, I would. Okay, I'll give you that one. Yeah. I don't mind that one. Just for the fact that it would upset them so much, and do it down in Houston.
Oh, there are some people that are like legitimately, like, irate about it in Houston in terms of, well, that's our team. The Texans should be able to win those jerseys. Like,
that's not the team.
It's not the team, man.
But
the franchise is here.
But they've got to wear them against the Texans.
Oh, 100%.
So you can't wear it against, Jacksonville.
I would wear them every game against the Texans.
Yeah.
Just continually rubbing it.
Right, to do that. We got in the Buccaneers, I know they're doing the creamsicle because Brady tweeted that out, and I love that. I mean, that pirate, man, he's going to come and pillage the community and take your wife.
That's right.
I love those helmets. But I love, Pat Patriot, the old Patriot helmets. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's the greatest logo of all time. And I'm not a Patriots fan, but what Pat Patriot is doing on that helmet, two things. One, he's defending your freedom.
That is correct.
Right? Secondly, he's going to drive block your ass 40 yards down the field. So respect Pat Patriot.
That's right.
What's going on? What's happening? So I want that. I want the old style Falcons helmets back. And our good friend Rick Merritt and I have talked about this.
The unathletic.com.
Yeah, I know, lead writer, right? He covers all the sports. All the sports he covers. The Bengals helmet, when it was just the letters.
Yeah.
This is like, I was like my son at 5 years old. Hey, buddy, go create me a football helmet. Here you go, Daddy, Bengals. And it's just something about being so simplistic in that helmet that I watch the old NFL games and the Twitter account, old NFL football. It's fantastic to see those helmets that you grew up with. Like, oh, man, they were so awful that they're awesome. And that's with the Buccaneers, the Falcons, the Patriots, the Bengals. The old-style Rams helmets were really cool, too, as well. It's just been something like the Cardinals. Seahawks, the old style was better. The Eagles.
Broncos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The big D. The rumor was years ago, or again, if it's right or not, that when Pat Bowlen was in discussions about building a stadium, he changed the logo of the Broncos from the D to the Bronco. Yeah. So if they move cities, you've got a new helmet with that. So you're not really it's not really beholden to Denver, but the old D was. But that old D was really
pretty awesome.
Good stuff right there.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll continue the discussion coming up next. Got more of your thoughts to get to as well on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on the Predators from the people that cover them?
Heck of a year so far for the Predators. They've been so much fun to watch.
Join Robbie Stanley for Preds Insiders every Monday at 6.
I feel probably as good about this group of 6 on D.
Presented by Dr. Kelly Rice on Smashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
Save big this 4th of July at Electronic Express. Get an LG 55-inch 4K TV for $399 or a Samsung black stainless washer dryer for $549 each. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Xbox S bundle for just $389 or an Acer laptop for $229. Shop in-store or online with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express. We make celebrations happen.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations: Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
102.5 The Game is teaming up with Newton Motor Group and Souls for Souls to provide shoes for children experiencing homelessness in Nashville and the surrounding area. With school coming back, our goal is to raise $20,000, which will provide 1,000 pairs of shoes for kids. Please help however you can by going to thegamenashville.com/shoes. All donations go directly to Souls for Souls to give shoes to children in Middle Tennessee. thegamenashville.com/shoes.
This is a big month for some of our teammates at Cromwell Media. At 102.5, 106.3 The Game, producer Kenny Adams is celebrating a 10-year anniversary. Also at The Game, morning show producer Michelle Knezovic and part-time producer Nick Keyser are both crossing the 1-year mark. At 102.9 The Buzz, Eric Steele, our rock star evening host, and Andy Herron, a part-time host, have been with us for 8 years. We are Cromwell Media and proud of our employees who commit themselves to excellence every day. Want to join our team? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky, saving, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into the DDC.
Stomach Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in. Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Joe Dubin's favorite platform on social media. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning.
And I'm still fighting the mic stand. Damn it, Chase McCabe, get in here and fix this thing, because it's attacked me like 7 times during the show. I'm afraid to touch it. It'll fall apart.
Like a broken nose over here, yeah.
Our friend Max Haldeman sent me a text. He's watching on Twitch this morning.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. He goes, "You're looking good on Twitch." I said, "Oh, does it make me not look fat and bloated? Then I like Twitch then. If that's the way to go, I'll use Twitch for the rest of my life."
Oh, you've already told me you're going home later today and just going to watch people play video games the rest of the day.
I'm anxious to see Jim Smith and Bill Blarney from DeLand, Florida play Madden 2017 later today. That should be a lot of fun. I can't wait for all that.
It's going to be amazing.
We still got the reports rolling in from the best high school player people have seen?
Oh, it's all well, somebody brought up somebody that I can't believe that we didn't talk about, but John Henderson in high school.
Oh,
Good
my
gracious.
goodness. I told you would forget people. Baby Shaq.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, man. He was on the same defensive line at Tennessee with Haynesworth.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine, like, you know, in the NFL, his pregame ritual was basically to get smacked in the face. Like he's like, just walk up to me and hit me as hard as you possibly can. Did that start in high school? I don't know.
I don't know. But that's a thing where you see, I can't believe I forgot him. I mean, that guy was amazing. I mean, he was just so gigantic. Such a nice guy. I don't know. I heard he moved back here. I don't know exactly what he's doing now, but hope all things are well with him. But he was just, I mean, went to Jacksonville and had a nice little career down there. But yeah, John Henderson. Man, how did we forget that one? Should have seen that one coming right there.
6'7".
Yeah.
320 pounds.
How did he block that? I'd get a tow motor from Walmart and try to block him on the road. I just get that guy's massive.
Niner Trucker on the text line says, if the Titans wear that old school uniform against the Texans, that'll be so disrespectful. It's coming from Niner Trucker. That's the point, man. I'm about disrespect. There's not enough disrespect in pro sports anymore. We need more of it.
Right. So would it be the Oilers uniforms they wore here or the old school ones they want the Hall of Fame game? Which one would they wear?
I would rather go the Oilers they wore here. I think those are
with
great
the Derek.
look.
I mean the white and all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean the ones they wore in the Hall of Fame game, they're okay. I mean they were fine, but I would rather go with the Houston/Tennessee Oiler look.
Yeah, I'd
from more recent times.
I'd like that look. I mean back in the day because it was just the old Derek was just cool. I mean helmets were cool back then, and they looked really good. But I could see that. But they've got to do it against the Texans and do it here and run it. Don't announce or don't let anybody know about it. Just kind of do
just
what
roll out in warm up.
Yeah, do what Notre Dame did, I guess, in the Cotton Bowl one year when they came out in white jerseys, went back and changed to green. I think Montana was a quarterback then. Pete Weber could probably take us from there and let us know exactly
the exact date and time. Yeah,
score, drive charts, and everything else that happens.
Andrew from Dover on the text line says, I had a friend that played Ron Mercer in high school and said right at the tip they got the ball and the point guard threw a lob to Mercer from half court. Just immediately.
I mean, him and Drew Maddox on the same team at Goodpasture growing up. I think Ron went to Oak Hill for his senior year and ended up going to Kentucky in a nice little – it was only there 2 years, but still won a national championship there. But this, again, I love this. Thanks, you guys, for sending these in because we're forgetting about a lot of these players. That Brendan Wright and, of course, with John Henderson and now with Ron Mercer. Still, I mean, really good players around it that you knew would go to the next level and make an impact. Not just get there, but make an impact.
So, I mean, obviously our city is growing. Sports, football, baseball, basketball, whatever you want to point to around here is growing as well. Like this is going to continue to be the case. Like we talk about football around here. There's an incredible baseball talent pool around here as well. Yes. I mean, there's the high school athletics in this area. I would imagine as we get through the next 15, 20, 25 years, you're going to see more and more professional athletes coming from this area.
Oh, no doubt. And you go down to Rutherford County, and you live up in Sumner County, the ball fields they're just packed. You know, with kids and playing and all that, and the great talents happening there. Rutherford County with Sonny and David Price, and all the players that are going on there. And you'll go down a Major League Baseball team, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that guy played. I mean, there was a guy from Tullahoma that played for Hess? Played for the Orioles. He might be with the Marlins now that I never heard of. And so you got guys all over. I mean, Mount Juliet's put a lot of guys that are now in Major League Baseball and minor league baseball, a lot of them. But the talent here is even the last 15 years. Well, like Golden Tate was 06 or 07 graduated, Sonny 08. So if you go back a little bit before that, talent was okay here, but now you see these guys just next level. You know, and Mookie Betts is a prime example of that.
Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We got a text that says, Stephen Bubba Miller, football and wrestling. Hey.
Sherwood Academy.
Yeah.
Had a nice little career at the Eagles.
Yeah.
He was with the Vols like 90.
He went to Tennessee, didn't he? Yeah.
92 to 95. And, you know, a couple of years with Peyton when he popped up there. I mean, that's another great guy that made it. And that's I love the linemen that sometimes we forget and don't remember about. Those guys that have made it to the next level. Bubba Miller was certainly that. And then I think King Dunlap with the Brentwood Academy was 6'8", huge, played with the Eagles and with the Chargers for a bunch of years. So the talent is here. You just got to look for it.
Yeah, no question about it. And, you know, it's one of those things, too, where going back to our college football discussion earlier, we talked about recruiting. Well, one thing that Tennessee has not been able to do lately that is starting to turn around a little bit is getting the elite in-state talent. Like you've seen guys go to LSU or Georgia or Alabama, like your elite-level players, keeping those in the state of Tennessee. That's the challenge for Josh Heupel. Of course, it's, you know, you're Tennessee, you want to recruit nationally. You just got a 5-star quarterback from California. So it's not like you solely rely on in-state recruiting, but you can't have your top guys leaving the state.
And I think that's
Alabama.
what happened with Fulmer the last couple of years is that, like, Dante Hightower should have never gotten out of the state of Tennessee. I know Golden Tate was going to go to Notre Dame. That was already kind of written down. He was going to go there. But imagine getting a Golden Tate and Dante Hightower come to Knoxville. You know, Jalen Ramsey should have never gotten out of the state. Tennessee's got a heck of a track program.
Yeah.
He should never gotten out of the state. So, I mean, there's a lot of good talent here. And Dooley, I think Fulmer those last couple of years did not look within the state to get. You know, Butch Jones
did for a while.
Butch did. He had a good classes with Hurd and with Derek Barnett. And you're right. You can't let these guys get out. Like Jacoby Stevens leaving here and going to LSU, a great player to Oakland. You got to keep some of those guys here, at least somehow, some way. And I didn't think that, of course, go back to Fulmer and Dooley did a really good job of keeping those guys around.
I got to vote for Tracy Hayworth on the text line
as
well.
Franklin County.
Oh, yeah.
Played a nice little career with the Lions.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Got another vote for Corey Brewer, who we talked about out of Portland.
Corey Brewer, man. I remember going up talking to his family before the 06 National Championship game, and they were just so nice. So nice. And what a great family.
Well, we've had Corey on the show before, friend of the show.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Very nice little career. There's a couple coins in his pocket to go with his career, but he spent, 13, 14 years in the league.
He's in the league for a long time.
To do that. Anybody random that we just kind of – because we've hit a lot of – but, again, I think we're leaving one or two out that maybe –
Travis Stevens. Got to vote for Travis Stevens on the text line. Clarksville Northeast.
Yep.
He's a heck of a player.
Our good friend the Sudzo just texted in and said, don't forget about Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
Brentwood High School.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do I forget Robbie Ray? I mean, Cy Young winner.
Yeah.
He's at Toronto now, right? He's in Arizona and went to Toronto.
He was in Arizona. He won the Cy Young with Toronto, and now he's with the Mariners. Yeah.
Our good friend Tommy Bryan, Hall of Fame sports writer, said the best small guy I ever saw play, Eric Locke, best athlete ever put on the field at Riverdale. We talked about him earlier in the show. Went to Riverdale High School and then ended up going to Alabama and then transferred to Tennessee. And somebody got into his head, and he was never the same when he got to college. I mean, he would have gone and played, done a great job, just gone to one school, but those are a few right there. But yeah, Van Jefferson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Josh Malone.
Josh
with the Titans right now.
I didn't see Josh that much in high school. Was he that dominant?
He was pretty good. Yeah. Station camp. He was a pretty good player.
I mean, I remember the ESPN game because Hurd got hurt in that game. Remember, was it 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Station camp versus Beach.
Yep.
Man, that was hot. And then the next year was Oakland and Blackburn.
I think so. Yeah.
Also at 10
about
o'clock.
Two good football programs down there.
1,000 degrees down there too as well. I think Jacoby Stevens at Oakland, I think he's still with the Eagles.
Yep.
He got drafted last year by him. So there's this, keep your eye. I tell people again, high school football in this state, especially Middle Tennessee, is so good, so much fun. And I love watching. Mike Keith and I had this conversation years ago. If you're getting into sports broadcasting, stay grounded somehow, some way to high school football. whether go out and covering it, writing about it, doing. I know Mike did the PA for Battleground Academy still for several years. Just get involved because it's fun, man, and it's these cities love to see you go to Watertown or down to Lewisburg or whatever. They love to see you come by, man. So it's always good.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Heat advisories going into effect by the end of the morning, with heat index values climbing up to 105 to 110 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
With your home value up again, you are sitting on a pile of money. So don't let it sit there. Use it. Willie Daunic here for my friends once again at Loan Pronto. Introducing Loan Pronto's Equity Line of Credit program. You don't have to refinance, but you can access up to 97% of your home's value. Get cash now to pay off all your credit cards, or do that home improvement project. Get your down payment for a new home, or stash away for a safety net. You can get $50,000, even $100,000 or more out of your home, and the payments are crazy low. Think what you could do with $100,000 right now. Loan Pronto makes unlocking your equity easy, and they can probably even waive the appraisal. Don't just let all that home equity pile up. Turn your house into an ATM machine and get the cash you need. Call Loan Pronto now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments: pain meds, steroids, and then surgery, right? Willie Daunic here with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This is an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints. Pain meds can be addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out. The new way is in. Regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics and their protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Sheet Metal Workers Local 177 is looking for the next great skilled construction tradesman out there to join their apprenticeship program. If you're interested in commercial fabrication, ventilation systems, metal roofing, welding, and more, Smart Local 177 is the place for you. Get the extra training you need to excel in the career you've been waiting for. They offer great benefits, tuition-free, debt-free education, and job opportunities you can earn while you learn. Visit sheetmetal177.com or call 615-292-0587, an equal opportunity employer.
Darren McFarland.
That's the most personality I think I've heard.
Willie Daunic.
Give me credit. I said it.
Chase McCabe.
I still talk to people outside of this building.
The DDC. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Dubin and Nick Keys are here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee.
There's a lot of people happy this morning, evidently, Robbie, because they're putting the letters back. All right, this microphone. Damn you, Chase McCabe. Come in here and mess the microphone. For 4 hours, I've been fighting this microphone that's going to eventually attack me like Skynet and Terminator. This is ridiculous. Anyway, here it goes again. They're putting the letters back up at Neyland, the VOLS.
Really?
Yeah, they're putting them up. A lot of Vol fans happy about that.
Yeah.
Just don't mess with tradition, people. Put the stuff back up there.
Leave things alone.
Yeah, so there some guys like, hey, I got screenshots. The letters going back up at Neyland. and says, I know the workers have on the protection to fall, but just watching these guys make me nervous. Like, there are guys on top of the letters as they're being adjusted on top of Neyland Stadium. I'll pass. Snakes,
yeah, no thanks.
Snakes and heights.
Yeah.
I'm done. You bring a snake in this room, I'm fighting you to get out of here first. I'm jumping through the window. I ain't doing snakes.
We know what to say. You don't have to be the fastest one. You just can't be the slowest. Like, you
right. Yeah, just
push people out of the way.
I ain't doing with snakes, man. I'm sorry. Okay. Woo.
615-737-1025. Got to vote for Brian Reynolds from Brentwood High School, Vanderbilt National Champion. All-star center fielder for the Pirates.
Yeah, good for him, man. National champion with Vanderbilt, now doing really well with the Pirates. Good for him. He got drafted by the Giants, I think, and then ended up being traded to the Pirates. So good for him. People are like, oh, I can't believe he's with the Pirates. He's making nice money playing Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And I've watched that guy play. He gives 100%, unlike other baseball players.
I got a text that says Sean Marion from Clarksville High School.
Yeah.
How about that? I honestly, I did not know that Sean Marion grew up around here.
Yeah, and
so this has been an educational experience for me.
UNLV and played basketball, college basketball there, and then
really good in NBA career.
All right, Nick Keyser's got in my ear here.
My very first ever interview was Jawan Williams.
Okay.
He went to Father Ryan.
Yeah.
But my first interview was with him at Hendersonville High School because his senior year, he transferred there, and he was ineligible to play because he was 5 miles outside of the radius in which he could have played in.
That's right. Went to Vanderbilt and drafted in the second round by who, Nick? Who took him?
The New England Patriots.
Attaboy. I like the way Nick was all dramatic at the beginning there.
Yeah.
He's like, I declare, and he paused, and then got into it. Good job, Nick. You got
good delivery. Good stuff.
Radio voice going. Yeah, Joel, I'm over coughing like Rex Road now. I'm getting attacked by the microphone. I feel bloated. This is like Rex Road 2.0 over here. Something's not going on good right now. All right, better now. Okay, so I feel much better.
Get some commercials you can read here in a second, too.
He reads commercials like the Olsen twins read their lines on Full House. Same way. Oh, goodness. Oh, now hold on one second.
Yeah, just hold on. Right there. Yeah.
As we get the last 10 minutes happening here. But, hey, the Preds draft on Thursday.
Yep, Preds draft on Thursday. You know, you may be listening and you say, okay, well, it's the draft. Whoever they pick is going to help us in what, 3, maybe 4 years? I would say pay attention to the stuff that goes on outside surrounding the draft in terms of all the general managers are going to be there together. The Predators just made a big move on defense with Ryan McDonough coming in. The draft is a place where either trades get finalized or a lot of initial trade conversations begin with all the general managers there. So I think there's going to be a lot of movement in the NHL this offseason. There are teams that are up against the cap that want to get out from underneath it. There are some different teams that want to have, maybe some cap space but want to have a different look to them. So the Predators have already made one move. I'm not saying that they're going to definitely make another one come draft night, but David Poile has been known to have those conversations before at the NHL draft. So outside of the obvious of, hey, what player are they going to pick with their first-round pick, and when is that player going to be available? The immediacy of there will be some moves made trade-wise at the NHL draft.
Where's the draft this year?
I believe it's in Montreal.
Montreal.
Yeah.
You guys got a special draft coverage on Thursday?
Yep, we're going to have, I think, myself, Willie Daunic, and Chris Mason coming up on Thursday night, breaking down the draft and maybe some moves that go along with it. We'll see whether or not Philip Forsberg's contract is done by then or if he's still out there in the open, but that's coming up on Thursday.
It'd be like me when I worked in TV and they do the draft, those guys in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round who come from Russia or wherever they are, and you can't pronounce it. I just made names up. It's like, I can't pronounce them anyway. I have no idea how. Like, well, look at the Google. Like, look, nobody cares how you pronounce these guys' names.
Well, it is. It's amazing to me, and I think some of it's what we talked about earlier with just the immediacy of it in terms of how quickly they help you. Now, some of it's also football is the most popular sport.
Yeah.
But, like, the difference between the NFL draft and what an event it is and every other draft out there. Like, the NBA draft is similar in terms of the fact that they help you immediately.
Right.
But it's just such a –
who's the last hockey player drafted first round that you can remember that got drafted in June or July and was on the roster in October making some sort of impact?
Well, it happens. It happens a lot, but it happens with your first few picks every year. So, like, Connor McDavid got drafted by Edmonton, and he was on the team the next year. Nathan McKinnon was on the team the next year. I mean, here in Nashville, the last one I remember immediately was Seth Jones got drafted back in 2013, and he was on the roster in October. So it can happen. It's usually your top guys towards the first 5 picks of the draft. But that was, I think, in Nashville, that's probably the last time that's happened, is Seth Jones in 2013.
What was I remember reading Sidney Crosby get drafted and play immediately.
Oh, yeah.
What was the coin flip? When we were in Pittsburgh for the Stanley Cup, I was reading something like coin flip decided the Penguins franchise.
Well, if you remember, they had a lockout in 2004.
Okay.
So you couldn't determine the draft order based off standings because there was no season. So you had to determine it via basically a coin flip / lottery system. And
for all the teams?
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. It's crazy. And, the Penguins were awful during that stretch. So at that stretch of time, they ended up with Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Marc-Andre Fleury, the goalie. During like a 4-year stretch in the draft.
How'd that work out for them?
Worked out pretty well.
So it came down between Anaheim?
I think it was Anaheim and Pittsburgh, yeah.
And a coin toss. Can you imagine had that gone Anaheim's way? I mean, Pittsburgh is not winning those Stanley Cups.
Oh, no.
How many have they won now with him? 4?
They won 3.
3,
yeah.
Okay. Back-to-back.
Yeah, back-to-back in 16-17. They won the first one in 09.
09, okay.
Yep.
That's amazing. You look about how something simple like that determines a franchise. And you go back to NBA draft when Portland takes Sam Bowie second in 1984 and Jordan falls 3 to
it's amazing.
And there's another one that's up there too as well. Is it the Mahomes in 2017?
They took Trubisky was the first quarterback that year in the draft, which is just amazing. But there's that. I mean, more recent times in the NBA, you had Greg Oden, number 1 overall, and Kevin Durant was 2.
7 draft.
Like, man.
Yes.
Both of them were Portland, by the way. Sam Bowie and Greg Oden.
That's right.
So they missed on a couple of them at the Trailblazers.
My Lord. Somebody's like, well, that year Houston also passed on Jordan. But remember who Houston
Hakeem Olajuwon, yeah.
Who, by the way, I tell people, if you've got one shot left in a game, I'm taking the dream. Every single I can't believe I'd go Jordan.
The history of the game?
Curry. Yeah.
Okay.
You give me Hakeem. If you're talking 10 feet in, 3 seconds to go, I'll take Olajuwon all day, every day. I mean, he was such a force that they could not stop.
I think going Curry. It's true.
Yeah, but if you 10 seconds, you're down 1. Give me Hakeem. He just cannot be stopped. Give me him or Will Purdue, either one.
Yeah, that's right.
That can happen. That can make that shot in the last second.
Right. Shout out to Will Purdue
or AJ Ogilvy when he was at Vanderbilt.
Absolutely,
those guys right there.
Get coached up by Kevin Stallings.
Oh yeah, that's good time. That's one time when Stallings told what was the player he told? I'm going to kill you or whatever after the game in Knoxville. He got mad at one of his players. They're going through the line. And they were shaking hands, and I know Max might remember this.
Did Wade Baldwin?
I think was that right? Max said that's correct? Yes. And then all the writers came out and said, that's what I got into with Bomani Jones. He and I got into a Twitter fight over that, and he blocked me. Yeah. So I was like, I got blocked from some dude I barely even know because I tweeted out from working here. I'm like, Stallings and laughing. He's like, it's not a laughing matter. And he ended up blocking me. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. But that was 7-8 years ago that happened.
Yeah.
Good times, Robbie.
It's pretty incredible to think about. So, Joe, you're going to be with us the rest of the week here
on
the program.
I'll have some more good topics for us that we'll get into.
We may even get a Rex rant out of Joe at some point this week. We'll see
as
what
long
happens.
as it's not Rex Road calling in. We'll do it. By the way, how much time we got?
About 30 seconds.
So today's national days are it's National Bikini Day, National Apple Turnover Day, National Graham Cracker Day, and National Workaholics Day. Do you know that?
Yeah.
And then for tomorrow, real quick, if I can get this pop-up out of here, tomorrow's days we could talk about International Kissing Day, National Fried Chicken Day, Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day, and Virtually Hug a Virtual Assistant Day. Pass. I like National Fried Chicken Day.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that one.
That's fine with me. Good show, Robbie. I'll see you tomorrow, brother.
That sounds like a plan. That's going to do it for us today here on Robbie and Rexroad. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. The DDC is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
Duchesne scores! Titans touchdown!
We live the game.
They did not make the playoffs. Coaches are figuring out what his role is.
We are.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
Learn a new offense.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air.
The game.